see. Audio, please work. Let me see. See what, bitch? Audio, please work. Let me see. Perfect. Every time I think about the audio. Oh boy. Man, streaming is it is great when you get back to it, even if you're only gone for like 2 to 3 days. I totally love what happened at the beginning of this week to make me have a midst panic attack and forget totally about my existence to stream. Well, not forget about it, it was just more or less I wasn't in the right mental state to do it. If that makes sense. I think that makes sense, but I couldn't tell you if it should make sense or not. But I digress. I digress, really. But, anywho, we're going to be streaming some more Higurashi. Where we last left off, we apparently killed Teppei, aka, Satoko's uncle. However, Satoko is claiming that, not only her uncle's still alive, but everybody around us is making the claim that we went to the Watanagashi festival, even though we obviously weren't there. We were too busy killing Satoko's uncle, or quote-unquote Satoko's uncle, and ordinarily we could go to Takano as an alibi sort of thing, but she's sort of dead now, so, yeah, we can't really do that. And we were trying to find some people to potentially trust in the situation, and while we thought we could trust Coach, it sidelined rather quickly. It sidelined rather quickly, and there was nothing we could do about it, which is rather unfortunate. But I'm not too surprised, because the world kind of just loves to throw stuff at me whenever it feels like it. 2020 was proof for that. Doesn't matter, though. The point is, we just gotta keep on moving forward, you know? That's what we're gonna do. We're going to keep on moving forward. So, without any further delay, we're gonna go ahead and get started with continuing the read. And hopefully, we can get something good happen. But right now, we're at the moment, we just fled the doctor's office where we were talking with Coach. So, let's see what we got. The straight road leading to town. In the middle of it. That should be where I buried it. Yes. It was near that streetlight. On that night, too, the rain from the downpour was splashing down from the streetlights overhanging like a waterfall. The pouring rain was exactly the same as it had been that night, and thus brought my memories into focus. I left my bike in the brush and stepped into the forest, the ground already soaked with mud. Where had I buried him? Think. The darkness, the shadows, the water, the mud. Everything was the same. Think! Then I spotted the lantern by a fallen moss-covered tree. That's right. I left it right there. I left the lantern here, and then I would have buried him over here. With the sensation of standing in the sludge, my feet remembered the spot better than my own eyes did. I plunged my shovel into the ground. It's hard. It wasn't here. I just dug it up, so it should have been softer. I stick my shovel in a few spots to test what they feel like. One of them clearly felt deeper. I recalled where the lantern was, where the trees and things were in relation to each other, and knew that it had to be here. Under here slept that man's corpse. There definitely should be a tattoo of a tiger on his back. But if it wasn't there, then I had made a horrible mistake and killed someone completely unrelated instead. I would be more dazed at the fact that Satsuko's uncle wasn't dead, then I would regret having gotten someone else mixed up into this. If this insane world was punishment for the sin of committing murder, I wouldn't be able to accept it until I'd killed Satoko's uncle for good. And then, without any fear, I'd attack him again. And that time, I would kill him for sure. But what if the tattoo was there? That would mean I killed Satoko's uncle, but that would be terribly strange. If I had killed him for sure, then who the hell was this uncle that's at Satoko's house this very moment? Impossible. I didn't even know anymore what I was using the word impossible to refer to. I've used that word quite a few times today. If I had to make the words impossible just fit into one thing, what would it be? That much was obvious to me. I shouted and turned behind me. There was nobody there, of course. It hadn't been bothering me for a while, but those footsteps had followed me the entire day. Even now, just an extra set of footsteps had splashed behind me. This is some fucking... You're on drugs, Kay. Like, Kay, I think you're just going delirious, honestly. I mean, to be fair, who wouldn't in your situation? But still, like, what the fuck? No one was actually there. No indications of anyone, even. But they were there. Thinking back, the first time I heard those footsteps was after Takano-san and I parted. Those footsteps were my welcome into this strange outside-out world. Or inside-out world, sorry. No one could be there. I'd get no response. Whoever it was, they just kept staring at me. It wasn't ominous, just unpleasant. After staring into the empty space for a bit, I bathed in the rain. My illogical anger slipped away. My tension loosened and tried feeling reared instead. I tasted this feeling that night too. The sudden exhaustion I felt as the tension in my brain loosened. My vision quickly narrowed, and I felt like everything around me had suddenly gotten darker. I couldn't give in to the sensation. I would light what little explosives were left in my brain and force myself to keep going. I needed to dig that man up before my stamina ran out. I needed to see the tattoo on his back. I caught my suddenly ragged breath and calmed down. Then stuck the shovel into the soft, muddy ground again. It felt exactly the same as that night. The sense of digging a hole in the beach, with water coming into it with every wave. What day was today? Have I gone back to the night of the Watanagashi? Every strange thought that came to my mind tormented me. Given my exhaustion, I didn't think I could manage to hold those thoughts back. Once the hole was deep, all illumination finally faded, blanketing my vision in jet black. It was probably the moment the sun had fully set, too. That night, I had feared the most, and gone without using much light. My senses were so strained that I could see even in that darkness. But now I didn't have that kind of strength left. I drained everything I had last night, and now the darkness would be lethal. I decided to turn on the lantern, putting it on the first setting that would make it give off a faint light. Even with how little it was, though, enough, and people wouldn't be able to see it from far away in the rain. I grabbed the chilled lantern, turned the dial with a click, and set it to the weakest light setting and turned it on. An uncanny world of silhouettes appeared before me. A complex and strange shadowy world created to intricate entanglement of trees and branches. I had only turned on a light, and it was like that was all it took to make the world into something else. I let out a quick, tired breath, wiped the liquid, neither rain nor sweat, from my brow. Then I raised the shovel in the air and slammed it into the mud. That moment, the silhouettes surrounding me ominously all moved at once. Inside my head, something packed in there, something coarse but not hot or cold, was loudly rushing out. The silhouettes were all around me, looking down at me, and one of them, a silhouette bigger than others, stepped forward.
こんばんは。
You are the last person I wanted to see today. You are the last person I wanted to see today. Fuck off, Oishi.
月の綺麗な晩ですね。
Of course, this is my brain shot through my whole spine and left me at my waist. The strength of my body had all left through my hips, and I crouched down into the splash, into the sea of mud I dug myself.
Oishi!
目上の人にはその後に3もつけるとなおよろしいかと思います。
I mean, you're the same person who kinda harmed me pretty bad by grabbing my shoulders intensely, so go fuck yourself, honestly.
そうでないと大人になってからいろいろと苦労します。
It wasn't only Oishi, but 5 or 6 of them in a row, men wearing raincoats. I had no inkling that this many people had gotten this close. It was like, once I turned on the lantern, they just appeared there, sliding out of the shadows.
どうぞ私たちのことは気にしないでください。森の木立だとでも思って。
Don't mind them?
そうです。私たちのことは気にされず、どうぞ穴掘りをお続けになってください。こんな時間にこんな土砂降りの中でそんなにも真剣にやっているんですからね。邪魔なんかしませんよ。心ゆくまで掘っちゃってください。
He knows how much you want to bet. He fucking knows, and I am not a fan of any of this. I hate you so much. No thank you, I said. When I tried to get up and turn around, 2 men blocked that route. They stood on either side and lifted me up with amazing strength, then threw me into the sea of mud. As I soaked in the mud bath that I dug for myself, I looked up at the silhouettes looking down at me. Oishi squatted, picked up my shovel, and threw it at my feet for me. It bounced loudly off the mud and hit me in the face.
ほら、続きをどうぞ。続きを。
I couldn't bear the oppressiveness of silhouettes surrounding me, and slowly I stuck the shovel in the mud again. I felt like I was digging my own grave. If I kept digging, it wouldn't matter whether there was a tattoo or not, because that man's corpse would appear eventually. It was all over, surrounded on all sides and nowhere to go. But I just couldn't figure out, no matter how much I thought about it. Why were they here? Was it Takano-san? There was only one person who had made a connection between me in the first place. Shit, I knew it. She deserved to die.
手が休んでますよ。
Oishi kicked me in the back, which took me by surprise, sending me flying into the mud.
ちゃっちゃと掘っちゃってくださいよ。
What the fuck? He's so crooked here.
雨の中で待たされる方の身にもなってほしいもんです。
Go to your car. Go home or something. Let me dig my hole in peace, dumb bitch.
くそ、そんなに雨が嫌なら帰ればいいだろう。
Oishi kicks the mud into my face.
口より先に手を動かしてください。口と手を一緒に動かすのは落語家だけ。ねえ。
The men around him didn't react. not knowing quite whether they should laugh, but when Oishi glared at them, they started mumbling out pained chuckles. Just who was this guy? I knew the world had changed after that night, but if I went even further back, didn't it start when this guy showed up? That was when our peaceful days had been taken away from us. Ever since he showed up in Hinamizawa, things had been odd. Everyone stopped smiling and the world went crazy. The ground under my feet gradually got heavier and heavier. At this point, I started to think something was odd. I hadn't buried them this deep on that night, had I? My exhaustion peaked, and I sat down on the
いつ
spot.
まで掘ればいいんだよ。
最近の若い人は体力がありませんね。おい。
At Oishi's gesture, all the men pulled out their own sinister-looking shovels. As I watched the days, one of them grabbed my collar and dragged me out of the hole and threw me to the ground. The rest of the men stepped into the hole I dug and started shoveling themselves. As I stared at them dumbfounded, Oishi's... whatever that word is over, and squatted down to look at me directly.
前原圭一さん、あなたの趣味は雨の夜の穴掘りですかね。
Reina was teaching me all about it. You see, she likes doing these, like, treasure hunts and stuff. She's quite fond of it. I thought I'd give it a try myself. When I didn't respond, Oishi took one of those tin buckets where you were using to bail out muddy water and scooped some of it and splashed the whole thing in my face.
今日は大雨ですから、これ以上いくら濡れても全然わかりませんね。
Oishi smiled to himself and scooped up another bucket full of muddy water.
もう一回聞きますよ。あなたの趣味は雨の夜の穴掘りですかな。
そんな趣味のやついるもんか。
Oishi hit me with another bucket full of muddy water. The pebbles in it stung.
あの穴を掘ると何が出てくるんですかな。私、花坂じいさんのここ掘れワンワンってのが昔から憧れでしてね。
As he spoke, he ran the bucket through the muddy water again, to splash it in my face again.
あそこにどんな宝物が埋まってるんですかね。
Ask Reina, she sent me. She sent me. Totally. Just go ask Reina. Reina is really good at finding treasures. I hope you know that.
私にちょっとだけでも教えて。
If you want to know, then dig it on your own time. Fucking pig. I wasn't saying that out loud, but Oishi mercilessly drenched me in muddy water again anyway. Shit, shit, shit. If only you hadn't shown up, the world wouldn't have gone so wrong. Ever since you showed up, things have been strange. Satsuko got abused by her uncle. I ended up killing him, and the world went crazy. He was how it all began. Because of this culprit. Splashed another bucket of mud in my face. My insides were seething with anger. Die. Die. You die too. If I have some strange power to kill someone by cursing them, like with Takano-san, then you're sure as hell dead. And it won't be Oyashiro-sama's curse, it'll be mine. I'll curse you and then kill you.
反抗的な目つきですね。これを機に少しそのあたりをお勉強してしまいましょうか。今は平和な時代ですがね。
No! No, we don't.
私があなたくらいだった頃は何でも鉄拳制裁が普通でして。
おいさ。
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. One of the digging men in raincoats wiped some sweat off and called Oishi over. Oishi tossed the bucket away and then turned with an evil grin on his face.
はいはい、何でしょうか。
これを見てください。
Acceptance. Or maybe whatever that word is. I wanted to say this so you blockheads finally found it. Yeah, that's right. I'm the one who killed him. But you're the police. So it's your own job to figure out who he is, right? Come on. Prove to me it's really Satsuka's uncle.
何ですかこりゃ。
多分古い排水管ではないかと。あそこの用水路につながっているようです。
ぶっ壊しちゃいましょうか。どうせ使ってない缶でしょ。
The men all exchanged glances, then hesitantly brought in another topic.
大石さん、もうかなり手応えが固いです。これより深くってことはありえないと思います。
掘る場所を間違えました。
いえ、初めのうちは明らかに掘り返す感触でした。ですがこのくらいを掘った頃から急に硬くなりまして、多分もともと掘った穴よりも深く掘り進んだのだと思います。
じゃあつまり何ですか。ここには穴があって何もなく、ただそのまま埋め直されたと皆さんそうおっしゃるわけで。
What? What were they talking about?
こりゃ参ったな。ねえ前原さん。
Oishi grabbed my collar and dragged me to the huge hole they dug. The mud inside was like an ocean. I couldn't see any drain pipe down there. One of the men stirred it with a shovel, letting me hear it clang against something hard. There was no doubt that I buried him here, but I hadn't buried him this deep. I didn't dig deep enough to unearth an entire drain pipe. What the fuck type? So, then, this man, his corpse, where was it? Proof that I had been successful in that night was gone. Gone. Then what on earth was I? Was I actually crazy after all? And just possessed by the delusion that I had killed someone? That couldn't be. It was the unmistakable truth. It couldn't have been a hallucination. But now, the most important evidence that it hadn't been an illusion was gone. I killed him. I buried him. I had absolute unwavering confidence in that fact. Then, did I fail to kill him? After I left here and started breathing again and crawled out and gone back to Satsuko's house, was that it? I had come here to see whether he had a tattoo or not, and yet the truth I unearthed was far more than that. Yesterday, what was I killed him. I buried him. There was no doubt. But for some reason he lived and crawled back out. And even then, that's impossible too. I'm so tired of hearing this damn word impossible over and over. I get it. Dead people don't like to play by the rules here in Hinamizawa. Then I'll kill you as many times as I need to. I'll keep killing you until you never show your face to Satsuko ever again. Oishi and the others were muttering to each other. Eventually, their conversation ended, and Oishi came towards me. What do you want to say this time? What do you want to do? I stiffened, tensed up, and then Oishi's son just ignored me, like I wasn't even there, and passed right by me. The other men too, they ignored me and shuffled away. Eventually there was no longer a sign that anyone was around, and I returned to my quiet world of silhouettes. The only one left there was me. The only sound of the pouring rain filled up the silence. I love this chapter! This whole chapter is a fucking menace. Alright. Inquiry request. Okonomiya Police Station Command Center transmission recording. June 20th. Shit. I should have streamed this way sooner. Shit. 8:08 p.m.
こちら沖宮 PS 感度良好です。
車両ナンバー紹介をお願いします。獅子骨歯の4344。
副将獅子骨歯の4344。少々お時間もらえますがよろしいですか？
お願いします。
Oh shit, I skipped the thing. Shishibone H4344. Owner blank. Address blank Hinamizawa Village, Shishibone. Vehicle make and model blank. Theft reports none. Special mentions nothing of note.
沖宮 PS より大石社どうぞ。先ほどのナンバーが判明しました。大石社どうぞ。大石社応答願います。あれ？電波悪いのかな。大石社応答願出ませんね。
大石さんが車両紹介？誰の車だよ。
村人の車ですね。至って平凡な。
何者だよ。大石さんが聞いてくるからにはただものじゃないんだろ。
突起事項欄は完全に空欄ですね。S 号指定もなし。減点もなしだし。
バッシングでもされて腹が立ったんじゃないの？あの人根に持つとなかなか忘れないタイプなんだよ。
Record of malice. He said it smelled. He said the food smelled. He said it smelled because I smelled. He said I smelled because I don't take baths. He said to take a bath 3 times a day because I'm a smelly person. What the fuck am I reading right now? He said that I had to stay in the bath for a long time every time. He must be possessed by something too. This is the same thing the man who died said. Why does he know what that man said before? That much is obvious. The same thing that possessed that man is now possessing him. Can't a sudden earthquake make a big hole in front of the house? If it did, he definitely would go to look into it. And then I would just have to push him in. I won't give in until I get that chance. I won't give in, I won't cry. I won't give in, I won't cry. Someone is apologizing again. That ain't normal. Someone's apologizing again in Higurashi? That's not normal. At least it shouldn't be. End of chapter 11. Goddamn. We're chapter 12 now. The body wasn't there. The police didn't arrest me because of that. But I didn't know whether to feel happy about it. Just like Satsuko had said, I had failed to kill her uncle. The body wasn't there, so I was forced to conclude that as much. No matter what strange natural disaster, coincidence, or miracle might have implied. In order to free Satsuko, I became a demon. In this abnormal world, this was my reward. Yes, metaphorically, I had fallen into the demon world. But if that price had been in exchange for the life of Satsuko's uncle, then that would have been fine. Since Satsuko's uncle was still alive and shackling her to him, I needed to become a demon once again. One more time. No, as many times as it took. I'd kill that man over and over again until Satsuko was liberated. I had already awoken. I looked at the clock to see that it was early in the morning, just about 5. It was already light outside. Once I'd hardened my resolve to become a demon again, I could feel my whole body teeming with the awakened power once more. Time wasn't an issue. No matter what, I'll do it. I got up myself. The exhaustion from the past 2 days was completely swept away, and I didn't feel sleepy anymore either. I suddenly rose to make sure the body was moving like I wanted it to. I could feel blood flowing through each and every one of my fingers. As long as I got dressed, I let my mind wander, and had a strange thought. These 2 days, while I've said it was for Satsuko's sake, the only thing on my mind had been killing. I said it was for Satsuko, but while actually carrying out the act, I had completely forgotten about Satsuko, albeit temporarily. Maybe initially it was for Satsuko's sake, but now I'm just a demon, killing for the sake of killing. And as a result, I'd sunk into a world fit for a demon. Maybe it was the same for Satoshi. He resolved himself to kill his aunt to save Satsuko, become a demon, disappeared into the sunlit of Hinamizawa, vanishing into the demon world. Which meant that, after all is said and done, I'd meet the same fate as him. I tried to avoid making the same mistakes, but it happened anyway, which meant maybe Satoshi was right here. Satoshi had come to this world a year before me, and he would be here somewhere. Then, surprised, I stopped walking. There was a second set of footsteps I had grown so used to
お
hearing.
前ひょっとしてサトシなのか
The empty, lifeless air wouldn't give me an answer, but I felt a strange kind of relief that there was someone there, that Satoshi had stuck with me the whole time. Let's go, Satoshi. Once more. This time we will set Satsuko free for sure. I quietly slipped out of my house, so that way my parents would not notice. Oh, boy. Hello. Welcome. Welcome to my hell. I am in a living hell. How are you doing today? Hope you're doing good in this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. Higurashi! If they had caught me now when I've been, when I've been out way too late for 2 days now, they'd give me a really angry talking to. I didn't have the time to allow that to happen. Today I would put an end to it. If the dead body disappeared, then I didn't have to bury it. I could just burn it to ashes, and then take them with me so I could kill him again every time he resurrected. I'd do it again. I'd kill him again. And this time, I'd set her free. Outside, the morning light was so beautiful. It was as to stagger belief. Patiently waited for progress on RE commission. Hey! I quit my job in March, so I don't have money for commissions. But hey, that's good shit. I went to the storage room to find weapons which I could use to kill for sure. Blunt or not, it didn't matter to me. Right now, I didn't have a care whether someone saw, or if the police came. This world had gone crazy after all. The world where I'd shown up at the festival and had fun even though I wasn't there. Maybe even if the police arrested me, I'd probably end up going right back home as if nothing happened. Both me and that other Keiichi Maibara. Even without me, he'd fill in. I could vanish from Hinamizawa without anyone noticing. So basically, I didn't care if I was mistakenly killed. Even if I died, Keiichi Maibara would remain. After all, this isn't the world I belong in. If I was going to be killed mistakenly for Satsuko's sake, then it was just part of my duty as her Nini. As those desperate thoughts became more serious, the morning air felt more refreshing to me, strangely enough.
これは怖いな。こいつにするか。
It was a hatchet meant for chopping thick firewood. Pass it them when you want. Gotcha. Its hefty steel blade was sinister, almost as though it was a tool meant for killing people. I couldn't exactly take it out into public like that, so I wrapped it in some old newspaper and tossed it in the basket of my bike.
連日悪い用事に使ってばかりで悪いな。今日も頼むぜ。俺の足。
I apologized to my bike for some reason. For the last 3 days, I only used it for dangerous things. I had been riding this bike ever since I lived in my old town. I could walk to most places I wanted to go, so I hadn't used it that much. My mom had bought it for me when I entered cram school, thinking it would be a convenient way to get to the station since it was so far away. So I'd always used it to get back and forth from cram school. I only ever put textbooks and class materials in the front basket too. I never tried to put the hatchet that I'd be using to kill someone in here. When I came to Hinamizawa, life finally felt fun. I met the best friends ever and had some of the greatest times ever. Those times might be shattered now, but it was my greatest wish that I could get them back, even if I had to risk my life to do it. That's how those fun times had been. I killed someone, and now I was at it again, needing to kill someone. Murder was a crime. I didn't believe that people would ever think murder was okay, but still, the times I had were enjoyable enough for me to commit such a crime. My friends were irreplaceable, and the time we spent with them was a treasure. Hanging out, laughing, sometimes tricking one another, but always in a friendly way. I didn't fear committing any crime, as long as it was for the sake of taking back those times to give my heart so much pleasure. Yes, this was the value I decided to uphold. It wasn't something I learned from a school teacher. It was a noble path that I chose for myself. I thought back on when I first came to Hinamizawa, about how on the first day Satoko had welcomed me via a blackboard eraser with a rock in it. That welcome really surprised the heck out of me. She would laugh, get angry, cry. She was never boring. She was obviously the most childlike one among us, but she was actually lively, full of vim and vigor, and good at meddling in others' business. That went for Mion, Reina, and Rika-chan too. Wasn't Satoko the one at the center of everyone's laughing and banter? Satoko would try to look cool. Then Mion would make fun of her endlessly. Satoko would then cry, which would put Reina in a state of ecstasy. Rika-chan would be gratefully delighted. And I happened to get mixed up with it. We would always fool around like that. It was lonely when someone wasn't around. But if I had to name one for who was the worst, it would have been Satoko. Her smile was everyone's smile. Ever since she stopped smiling, so did the rest of us. And for the rest of us, not smiling was the same as dying. It was just like when I was silently going to cram school every day, just maintaining my unchanging test scores. So basically, we were nothing when she wasn't smiling. She was full of hot air, but she was our princess, cute and unhateable. In that case, I was her knight, searching for the dragon's castle in order to win her smile back.
ナイトなら武器は剣だろ。ツーハンデッドのかっこいいやつ。錆びた肉厚のナタで挑むナイトは、多分古今東西俺一人だな。
When I saw an old person on the ridge of the field waving at me.
おや
Oh,
ケイチ君かい。朝のサイクリングかいね。
おはようございます。
I reflexively waved back in a refreshing way. Should I really have been feeling so happy waving like that? Satoko's house would be right past this road, going beyond the rice paddies. The cicadas had woken up too, and the next thing I knew, I was the audience to their daily chorus. It gave me a hint or two in my head, and drove away my merry morning mood. I took a deep breath, tilted my head, quelling my pointless excitement. The body wasn't there. Its absence either meant my killing him had been an illusion, or that I killed him and he'd risen back from the dead. If I was at the festival, then maybe I should have considered it an illusion. Coach probably thought that way, which is why he treated me like some form of a lunatic. But it being an illusion was just impossible. I killed him without a doubt, without a doubt. If that had been an illusion, then that would make all of this Hinamizawa I was in right now nothing but an illusion. If that was the case, then here's how it would end up. I was actually in a vegetative state due to a traffic incident, and I was currently dreaming in the hospital bed. How great it would be to spend time with my friends in rice paddies like these. It was a terrifying thought, though. If this wasn't an illusion, then there's only one possible answer that he would have to resurrecting. It would make him a literal monster. But if he was such a monster, then I was no less of a monster myself. I didn't hesitate to kill anyone, and I could even wield curses. Takano-san probably died because I cursed her. Or maybe that was a little much. If Coach and Oishi-san too, died too, like I cursed them to yesterday, then I'd believe it. I set my bicycle aside and went to take a look. His motorbike wasn't here. Of course it wasn't. I sent it down to hell that night, throwing it into the Anafuguchi swamp. Or maybe it was just like how the corpse wasn't there. Maybe the motorbike didn't get thrown into the swamp either. The fact that his bike wasn't here might have because he had gone to town and hadn't come back, not necessarily because I'd thrown it into the swamp. If her uncle wasn't around, then it was convenient on its own. Then I would just show myself in and wait for him to return, sharpening my hatchet. If he was there. Forgotten sensations came back to my gut. The feeling of tension rose within me, a sensation like a poison, dulling my actions. But it could also be the trigger to allow me to awaken my superhuman, unworldly self. I held the hatchet, still wrapped in newspaper. Its weight in my hands was profound, sinister, and reliable. I hadn't put on my watch, so I didn't know what time it was, but it was probably a little before 7. Satsuko would probably be awake preparing breakfast and her lunch, but her uncle would probably still be lazing around in bed. A guy like him probably would have stayed up all night drinking, and probably always slept until noon. I considered ringing the doorbell and having Satsuko open the door for me, but if her uncle woke up from the sound, I'd waste my chance of him still being asleep. If Satsuko saw me sneaking inside without ringing the doorbell, she'd be surprised. If I ran into her, what would I say? I've come to kill your uncle for you, so stay quiet. No, I couldn't do that. That would make it be like making Satsuko responsible for his death. Just be quiet and go wait outside. Maybe that would do it? But then how would Satsuko react to that? She would probably try to get me to give up on killing him. I would have to lie somehow to get her to go outside. Satsuko didn't need to know that a murder was going to occur in this house. I couldn't think of a good lie to tell her, but I couldn't do much just standing around like this. I made up my mind and grabbed the doorknob. Then slowly turned it and pulled. It wasn't locked. The gap between the door and the wall steadily grew larger. The chain wasn't even on. The oppressive smell of life in Satsuko's house hit me. At the entrance, there was a few pair of shoes and sandals. I couldn't tell whether he was here or not just by looking at them. I could hear the television on somewhere. Jesus fucking Christ! The television was in the messy dining room. There was food scattered about the table, giving the impression of decidedly different from a happy family's mealtime. Meals were for eating food while thanking the person for making it, meaning whatever occurred in this dining room was not a damn meal. Nobody in sight, no sign of anyone either. But with the television on, he must have been close. Could he have anticipated my coming and be hiding, waiting for me? My tension felt so thick, so tight that I thought it would choke me. The newspaper wrapping in the hatchet's thick blade didn't hamper its power at all. I tightened my grip on it, and then carefully took a look around. Where had those peaceful feelings from before I arrived here gone? Even the sound of sweat bubbling up in my brow got me nerves. And then, I looked at the table and realized something. This wasn't breakfast. The grains of boiled rice were all hard and dried up. What? Then, was it last night's dinner? I left the dining room, keeping vigilant, and went down the hallway and found the stairs to the second floor. When that man was playing with his friends, he looked out the second-story window. It was highly possible that room was his own and that he slept there. I tiptoed up the stairs, quietly climbing, without making a sound. I couldn't hear any kind of snoring. I didn't hear anything up here. I went through a few rooms, slowly and quietly opening the paper doors, checking inside, but I still couldn't find anyone around. To search more efficiently, I got down to the floor and pressed my ear right up to it. I could hear the television in the dining room with a low hum, perhaps boiling water. And then, that I started to harbor some feelings of suspicion. This house wasn't right. It seemed like people had been here since the TV was on, but it wasn't normal for anybody to be around this early in the morning. I silently descended the stairs and went back into the dining room. I looked at the food scattered about, completely dried up rice, an overturned bowl of miso soup, the package for a side dish brought at the supermarket. I could tell Satsuko had definitely been the one who made this. The food was far from Mion's perfection and Reina's gentleness, but it was sincere. Judging by how she cooked for me at my house, and the type and the amount of side dishes, I deduced that the meal was from last night. The numbers stamped into the food packages read 830620. June 20th, 1983? That was yesterday. And there was food for two, which meant that this was last night's dinner for Satsuko's uncle would have been here then. Stop it, Keiichi. Don't even think about saying the word impossible again. Anyway, her uncle was here last night. That much was the truth. He had found fault with Satsuko's food, had thrown the bowl of miso soup, and flung the rest everywhere. Hidden deep within my feelings of calm and composure was lit a flame of anger and curse. Should I have ever shown this man any mercy? I heard that sound again. The one from before, like a water boiler. Where was it coming from? The first floor? But where? The bathroom, maybe? I could hear noise coming from the other side of the frosted glass at the end of the changing room. It had been the sound of a water boiler for a bath. Steam was enshrouding the glass door, and the heat from it was leaking into the changing room that I was standing to. My misgivings deepened. People didn't normally take a bath this early in the morning. If one did, then that would mean that this house... time had skipped ever since the moment of last night. Wait, was it being reheated? The water boiler in the room had been active this whole time? I checked the clothing basket and saw Satsuko's familiar uniform stuffed in it. The uniform had stains of dried rice stuck to it. Certainly not something she could wear today. It was probably from the miso soup in the dinner table yesterday. I looked hard at the front glass, but I couldn't see anything through all the steam. And then, an electric surge ran through my mind. A terrible premeditation came over me. Could she? She couldn't possibly have been there since last night. That would be impossible. But no, in Hinuma's all right now, nothing is impossible. I gulped audibly and quietly pulled open the glass door. Hot steaming air burst out of the slight opening. The fan wasn't even on in the changing room, so it was completely white with the steam. Just as the hot vapor poured into the changing room, cooler air also flowed into the room with the bath. And I just heard, due to being hit by the air, a very weak moan. That was all I needed to know who it was. No answer. Satsuko had been in the bathtub surrounded by a thick layer of rising steam. On top of that, her body was leaning over the edge of the tub, and she was passed out. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? The water boiler kept on making a whistling noise, as if angered. I could see a gas flame through the small window, and it roaring at full force, completely blue. Satsuko's entire body was boiled red and flaccid, as though her bones had melted away. She was almost like a doll as she laid there unconscious. I wasn't sure how many seconds had passed as I stared in complete bafflement. I came to my senses and promptly shut off the boiler, and then dragged Satsuko's small body out of the bathtub. The water in it was as hot as the water in public baths. She was in this boiling water for the entire fucking night? She'll die. She'll fucking die. Satsuko's body was like a lighter, and I expected to lay her on the floor wrapped in the towel. I went back to the bathroom and opened up a vent, creating a path for a cool breeze to come through. Upon the cool breeze hitting her, Satsuko moaned.
大丈夫かサトコ俺だケイチだわかるか聞こえるか
Satsuko recognized me and muttered a response, but I couldn't really tell what she was saying. Her eyes were muddy and unfocused. I could tell that she wasn't completely unconscious. Upon closer inspection, her limbs and waist were twitching slightly. This was way worse than normal overheating. This is dangerous. Didn't they call something like this a heat stroke? Think, what would the teacher do if a girl passed out in the middle of the summer during a marathon or gym class or something? I turned on the water faucet in the kitchen on the way and soaked a towel with it, and then took the cold towel and pressed it onto Satsuko's forehead. Satsuko reacted harshly to the coldness and let out a muffled noise. For burns, right, you would soak the burned spot under running water. Then I could run cold water in the shower and cool her off like that? No. If it was that sudden, it wouldn't be good for her heart. She would go into a shock. I think I read that once before. This is about as much as nursing as I could possibly give to her. Anything more than this would probably be too much for the likes of an amateur.
大丈夫かサトコもう大丈夫だからな必ず俺がニーニーが助けてやるからな5039 5030
Wait, what? What was Satsuko reciting under her breath? I brought my ear to her mouth to better make out the mysterious spell-like words she kept saying. At that moment, I understood what they were for.
サトコお前数を数えてるのかなんで
People tell little kids in the bath to count to 100 a lot, right? Satsuko was counting like that. But 5,039?
バカ野郎お前の家の風呂はいくつ数える決まりになってんだよ
I doubted my ears and doubted her common sense. 10,000?
ふざけるなバカ野郎1万なんて数えられるバカがどこにいるんだよ数えられるわけねえだろその前に湯だって死んじまうに決まってんだろどうしてこんなことに
Last night, her uncle flew into a rage at dinner she made, saying it stunk and was inedible. Satsuko didn't understand what on earth he meant. It wasn't much different than what she usually made for him. Maybe he hated the smell of the pickled vegetables she brought in particular. Her uncle then decided that stink was originated from Satsuko and shouted at her that she never ever took baths. And then he put Satsuko in a boiling water and told her not to come out until she counted to... I think we can easily conclude Keiichi has lost it. He has lost it for good, and, well, honestly, okay, let's go kick this motherfucker's ass. I snapped and exploded, raising the newspaper wrapped hatchet, and stampeded through the house. I searched for anything, traces, signs, smells, vibrations, heartbeats. With a war cry, I raced up the stairs with such force that I could have stomped a hole through it. Then I found a futon in the room, thought it was her uncle's, and well aware he wasn't sleeping in it, I bashed it with the hatchet. Did he run into the closet? I'll bust the entire closet down, door and all. And if he's not there, maybe there's a secret door. Any switches or levers or walls in here? I smashed into wall after wall with the hatchet, crushing them. Dust rose into the air, and broken pieces scattered about on the floor. I smashed all the glass windows, too, just for good measure. After I destroyed everything beyond recognition in her uncle's room, my reason finally kicked in and suppressed my emotions. This motherfucker is dying tonight. Anyway, her uncle wasn't in the house right now. I had to leave killing him until later. Right now, I had to do something about Satsuko. I went back to the changing room. Satsuko was still lying limp on the floor. There was nothing more an amateur like me could do for her. I needed to take her to a clinic. Coach had treated me like a lunatic yesterday and tried to lock me up in a mental hospital. I never wanted to see his damn face again. But I still needed to go to the infirmary one more time. I needed to have a doctor look at Satsuko. I thought about putting her in a dirty uniform lying in the basket, but I had no experience of dressing someone, so it would be pretty difficult. Shit! I don't have time to be wasting here. I eventually gave up on clothing and decided to carry her in her bath towel. The clinic was close to Satsuko's house. It would be way faster to carry her than call 119 to get an ambulance. What the fuck? Okay. Oh, well, I guess this was in the past. My apologies. I threw the biggest towel I could find over here and prompted her to stand.
立てるか。俺が診療所までおぶって行ってやるから。
ありがとう。ですわ。
Her words sounded clearer than before. She was starting to come back. I cried tears of relief just knowing that she improved even a little bit. Satsuko turned over and she was lying on her face, and then put up a weak struggle to get up on her knee. I smoothly swept her up and put her on my back. The towel I put on her seemed like it was about to fall
バ
off.
スタオル痛い。
すぐ着くから。しばらくの間だけ我慢してろ。
It didn't hurt one bit to carry Satsuko. She was light, too light. The lightness made me uneasy. Outside it had gotten hotter, as though eager to attack Satsuko. Fucking cicadas! Why'd you have to choose this morning to get so hot out? I didn't have time to swear at them. The clinic. It was this way. Hoisting Satsuko on my back, I broke into a trot. God fucking... This visual novel has a hard-on for fucking kicking my heart in the dick. I swear to God, dog. The hilly road to the clinic, with which I had never had difficulties before, was now torturous. Big beads of sweat formed from my brow. At some point, my breath had grown faint. The hatchet in my belt was heavy and made it hard to walk. I considered leaving it, but I couldn't let it go. Not at least while Satsuko's uncle was still breathing. The signboard of the Erie Clinic came into sight, but I quickly noticed something odd, and I stopped. Several red revolting lights were flashing at the clinic. 3 police cars were parked in the parking lot with their lights on. There didn't need to be so much else to inform me something had happened. I didn't want to see Coach, so I planned to leave Satsuko in the clinic waiting room and give the receptionist a message. But with the police officer Oishi here, I couldn't go inside so carelessly.
何ですの？
Oh my. Satsuko.
パトカーがいっぱいいますですわよ。
I gently put Satsuko down in the shade and thicket.
わからない。様子を見てくるからしばらくここにいろ。
レディをバスタオル1枚でこんなとこに置いてくなんてなってませんわね。
それだけ悪態がつけりゃ大丈夫だ。
I'll be right back, I added, getting up on my feet. Cautious of my surroundings, I hid myself behind a car and got closer to the officers grouped at the clinic's entrance. I overheard an officer wearing a necktie, probably their leader, and a white-robed doctor having a discussion about something. The doctor didn't seem to be like Coach. It was one who Coach had told to make the tea yesterday.
じゃあつまり最初に見つけたのは朝当番のあなただったと。それでどんな感じだったんです？
事務室の所長席のソファーに座って居眠りをしているように見えました。
で、机の上に水差しと空き瓶になった睡眠薬があったんで、あなたはすぐに睡眠薬で自殺したんだと考えたと。それで
高熱と瞳孔の拡大に重度の意識障害も見られました。睡眠薬中毒の典型的な重症例だと思いましたので、直ちに対応に入りました。
警察も救急も呼ばずに？
ここは病院で私は医師ですよ。生命が危険な状態にあるなら直ちに治療して当然です。
ああ、まあいいからいいから。それで
呼吸が不正常だったので人工呼吸を施しました。合わせて呼吸刺激薬を投与。効果が出なかったので人工呼吸器の準備をし。
ああ、はいはい。それでつまりいろいろ頑張ったけど結局ダメだったと。そういうわけですよね。通報は死んでから直ちに？
はい、救うことができずとても残念です。
Just then, a radio in one of the police cars started to buzz, producing a broken mechanical
こ
voice.
ちら本部、こちら本部。小宮山さん、聞こえますか？どうぞ。
もしもし、小宮山です。ああ、お疲れ様です。睡眠薬での自殺みたいですね。
Who is he?
遺書の類はなし。
Suicide? What the heck were they talking about? Someone I committed suicide at a clinic? But who? I wished Takano-san dead, and she died the next day. And yesterday I wished Coach was dead. Then, could he have...
普段から睡眠薬を常用していたとかは？
あまり知りません。
日頃疲れたとか死にたいとかそんなこと言ってました？
入江先生は普段からああいう性格でしたから。とてもそんな風には。
So I was right. Irie-sensei. They were talking about Coach. Coach killed himself. But why would he do that? There couldn't have been any reason he wanted to die. The only reason that came to mind is that I wanted him dead. This world was insane. If I wanted someone dead, they'd die. That was some kind of world this was. Then, what about Oishi? What happened to him? If people really died because I wanted them to, then something should have happened to him too.
そちらに応援が向かいました。課長からそちらは応援に任せて大石社の捜索に戻るとのことです。
了解しました。じゃあすいません。こっちに今応援が来てるそうですから現場はこのままにしておいてください。おい、行くぞ。
Oh, oops, sorry, didn't mean to right click. The officers nodded and split up into patrol cars. Did they just say searching for Oishi's car? Searching for his car. That meant he had gone missing? Takano-san, Coach, and Oishi. When I wished for it, the very next day they disappeared. No matter how angry you were when you said you wished someone was dead, it didn't normally just happen. Everyone knew just wishing for it wouldn't make them dead, and that's why people would utter such curses so lightly. But the curses I uttered were being granted. At the time, hadn't I been walking and yet I heard a footstep. And it wasn't only one this time. They came from behind, and they stood right behind me, reaching a hand for my shoulder.
一体何事なんですの？
Jesus, Satsuko. Don't scare me like that. You had me worried there. I thought I was gonna have to choke a bitch. I mean, huh? Nothing. Don't worry about it.
サトコか。脅かすなよ。
驚いたのはこっちでしてよ。いきなり大声を出さないでくださいまし。
It was Satsuko. Her eyes were still unstable and focused, but she seemed to be able to walk on her own now. She looked far better now compared to how her earlier exhausted state was.
具合はどうなんだ？もう大丈夫なのか？
まだ頭が痛いですけど、いつまでもこんな格好で表にいられませんもの。
She gave a smile, showing of courage, but her legs were still shaky.
それより、これは一体何事なんですの？今警察が話してるのを聞いてた限りじゃ。
監督が自殺したらしい。
え？
Satsuko was at a loss for words. Her face grew paler and paler. I could tell that she was doubting her own ears.
ケイチさん、それ本当ですの？何かの聞き間違いじゃないんですの？
Wait, oh no.
確かにそう聞いたよ。入江先生が睡眠薬で自殺したって。
Satsuko went down to her knees and broke out into tears.
嘘ですわ。監督が自殺なんて、そんなの絶対に。
As I watched Satsuko crying and crawling at the grass, I felt myself tapped by guilt and remorse. I got so angry that Coach was treating me like a madman yesterday, that he betrayed me, that I thought he'd be better off dead. But even Coach, who to me deserved to die, still must have had people who loved and respected him, like Satsuko here. In my selfish, egotistical anger, I wished for his death, and it was granted. And now Satsuko was crying hysterically as a result. The guilt tore at my heart. I worked myself up to murder for Satsuko's sake. I decided I wanted Satsuko to be happy, but was that really all it took? Murder meant taking someone's life. It meant make everyone attached to that person sad. In Satsuko's uncle's case, of course, nobody would be sad. So I didn't feel a sense of guilt at all. But Coach's death was different. I had wanted to make Satsuko happy. And that had resulted in me inflicting a deep sadness upon her, hadn't it? But Coach killed himself. It wasn't my... Satsuko still hadn't stopped crying, but she seemed to be a little calmer now. Wiping her tears, she stood up.
すまない。
It was the only thing I could say to her as an apology.
どうして謝りますの？
俺、昨日監督とお前なんか呪ったんだ。呪ったから本当に死んじゃって。
Satsuko looked at me for a few moments. Eventually her expression softened, and she interrupted my words with her own anyway.
ケイチさんのせいではありませんわ。監督も大人ですもの。自分の命を捨てるに値する都合があって悩んだ末に選んだんですもの。誰のせいでもありませんわ。
She smiled a little, trying to comfort me.
いつまでもこのままでいたくありませんわ。服が欲しい。
いいのかよ。診療所に行って見てもらった方が。
服を着てから見てもらっても別に死にはしませんわ。
Satsuko readjusted her bath towel and started back along the path. Her stride was wobbly. It didn't look like she had recovered as much as she let on. At first, Satsuko tried to go back home, but it was a time of the morning when people were going to school and to work. So after seeing people walk around, she thought better of it. She must have been pretty embarrassed wearing only a towel.
理科のうちに行きますわよ。
That's a good idea. Let's go there.
私の服
That's
あるはずですから。
a fantastic idea, Satsuko. Let's go see Rika.
どうしたんですの、圭一さん。
Satsuko noticed how I was hanging my head and spoke to me.
監督はああ見えても大人ですのよ。圭一さんと喧嘩したくらいで自殺するような人ではありませんわ。自分を責めるのをおやしなさいませ。
At first, I thought it was a coincidence, but with 3 people now, I couldn't discard the possibility. There was no such thing as impossible in this world.
この数日おかしいんだ。
何がですの。
Satsuko seemed to be having trouble breathing, but she still tried to listen to what I had to
お
say.
とといの綿流しのお祭り、お前は途中で帰ったから行かなかったんだよな。そして俺は祭りに行ってみんなと遊んだ。
らしいですわね。あの時は取り乱して申し訳ありませんでしたわね。
Satsuko remembered how she blew up at me in the classroom yesterday and bowed to me a little.
実は俺祭りに行っていないって言ったら信じるか。
Satsuko looked at me confused. She couldn't help it, of course.
信じられるわけありませんわ。何を今さら。
信じられないだろ。信じられないのは俺だって。
Oops.
俺は祭りに行っていないのに、俺が祭りに現れてみんなと遊んだって言うんだ。こんなの信じられるわけないだろ。
それ本気ですの。
ああ、あの綿流しの夜からおかしいんだ。いつの間にか変な足音がペタペタとついてくるようになって。
The blood drained from Satsuko's expression.
足音がペタペタ。
そうなんだ。最初は気のせいだと思ってたけど、ずっとついてくるんだ。多分今もついてきてる。里子の足音と混じってよく聞き分けられないけれど。
Satsuko took a long, hard look at me. Maybe she was doubting my sanity. Coach did the same thing. I mean, why wouldn't he after telling him this? The more I thought about it, the more I was unable to endure the feeling that my hatred for Coach had been meaningless.
綿流しの日、俺は祭りに行かず、ずっとだぞ。眠ったり意識がなくなったりしたことはなかった。だから寝ぼけ気分でフラフラと記憶になく祭りに出かけたなんてことはありえない。
それはおかしいですわね。ならどうやってお祭りで遊んだんですの。
だから俺は祭りには行ってないんだよ。
No, I can't let myself get emotional. If I get irritated now, that'd be like proving that there's something wrong with my head.
ごめん。みんなが信じてくれないんで、つい。
圭一さんがそう言うなら信じてあげますわ。それで。
あの夜、高野さんに会ったんだ。
We're just gonna tell Satsuko everything?
それで見下されたと思って、俺は心の中で念じたんだ。お前なんか死んじまえって。
高野さんってどことなくそういう雰囲気がございますものね。
Have you been enjoying the... Yeah, I'm fucking... This whole fucking chapter has been kicking my heart in the dick the past couple of fucking... Like, oh my god. This shit's been kicking my fucking ass for a bit. I'm gonna tell you the goddamn truth. How are you doing today, Elf? I hope you are doing good and whatnot. We are... I mean, you could probably... If this has been, like, your absolute favorite, then you probably already know where we are, but, seems we're telling Satoko a lot of funny things. Good? Just chilling? Hell yeah, hell yeah. That's good to hear.
その気持ちわからなくもありませんでしたよ。
高野さんが死んだの知ってるか？
The screams. As someone who's already, you know, went through the first chapter of Higurashi, hearing Keiichi's, mind break, if you will, I'm quite used to the screams. If anything, I welcome it as a psychopath.
昨日の話だ。どこかで焼け死んだらしい。
それ本当ですの？死んだんですの？
Yep, she got marked.
俺が死ねと願うと次の日には死んでるんだ。それから警察の大石ってやつも知ってるか？
Does anyone want to know Oishi? Cause
のムカつく太った刑事みたいなやつ。
Satsuko nodded a little.
さっき警察が話してるのを聞いたんだが、どうもあいつ行方不明になってるらしい。実は昨日あいつにも死んじまえって念じてたんだ。
それ本当の話ですの？
嘘じゃない。俺だって信じたくないけど本当の話なんだ。高野さんも監督も大石も俺が死ねと念じたら本当に死んでしまったんだ。
For a little while, Satsuko was at a loss. A long silence ensued. Huh?
それは怖い話ですわね。圭一さんにせめて嫌われないように気をつけませんと。
Oh no.
それだけじゃない。もっとおかしいこともあるんだ。それはお前のおじなんだ。
おじさまの話はやめてくださいましな。
昨日いたんだろお前の家に。
あの人の話はやめてくださいます。嫌なんですの。
ありえないんだ。あいつがいるわけがないんだ。
やめてって言ってますのよ。いや
あの男が綿流しの夜以降だってあの男の
ことはもう嫌なんです
の。俺が殺したんだこの手で。
Even the cicada stopped crying. Her face streaked with tears, and it stiffened up even more as she looked at me in disbelief.
俺が綿流しの祭りの夜にお前のおじを殺したんだ。だからお前の家に帰ってくるなんてことはありえないんだ。
But still, he went back, and last night he found fault with the dinner you made him and yelled all sorts of things at you, and then basically boiled you in the damn bathtub. That couldn't possibly have happened.
だから俺はあの男を確かに殺したという証拠を確かめるために。だがそこには死体はなかった。こんなことがあり得ると思うか？確かに殺したのに死体がないんだ。そして何事もなかったかのように帰宅してお前の前にこんなことがあっていいはずないだろう。
Satoko's entire body stiffened. She was shrinking away, like there was someone in front of her about to hurt her.
お前も俺のこと頭が変になったって思ってるんだろうな。無理もないさ。俺だって信じられない。
圭一さんはきっと偶然呪った人が死んでしまったんで混乱してるだけに違いありませんわ。監督の自殺にショックを受けて気が動転してるだけなんですのよ。今日はもう学校を休んでお家で休んだ方がよろしいと思いますわ。私はもう平気ですから、どうかご自分の体を大事になさいまし。
Satsuko spoke like she understood me, but she also told me to go home. I could see the revulsion in her face, and knew that she didn't want to be around me anymore.
サトコをちゃんと診療所まで見送ったら俺も帰る。サトコだってまだ足元がフラフラじゃないか。途中で倒れたら大変だぞ。
私はもう本当に大丈夫なんですのよ。男の人にいつまでもこんな姿を晒していたくないんですのよ。
She wobbled up the shrine steps, looking like she was about to fall. I immediately ran up to her and helped her stay on her feet. But then Satsuko promptly jumped away from me. That outright rejection hurt a lot. When she got to the top of the stairs, her breathing was ragged, and she wasn't even looking at me. At this point, I was being ignored. Well, it was more like she didn't want to have anything to do with me. It was a feeling of rejection. And that hurts my heart more than any blade would have. This was the path I chose for her sake. To be treated like this at the end of it all was just so saddening. Don't be naive, Keiichi, my bro. You never wanted to be repaid in the first place. You didn't do it so that Satsuko would thank you. You did it so that Satsuko would be happy. And that was what led to this ending. Riki-chan's house was a disaster prevention storehouse used by the town council. This is a different house. This is a different house than what we saw from chapter 2. What the fuck is this? If you went past it a little further in the shrine, okay, never mind. Satsuko was heading there, walking quickly, the gravel under her feet crunching as she went. Did she want to get there as soon as possible, or did she want to run away? I couldn't tell. And then, I heard a vigorous sound of wings flapping. I turned around and saw a crow. I hadn't seen any crows since coming to Hinama's. Oh, no. I saw a lot of them in my old town, though. On garbage day, they'd flock to trash collection points, peck at those bags with their beaks, drag out the contents, and have a feast. As I was remembering that, I saw a few crows flocking around the shrine's donation box. I thought how terrible it was for someone to leave a garbage bag in a place like that. The cicadas quieted. Breathing stopped. Thoughts ceased. Even time came to a halt. I ran over to where the crows were flocking. Ran there in order to drive out the horrible idea. I didn't. I definitely hadn't wanted this. There's no way I would ever wish for this, even by mistake. This is not... They noticed my vicious approach, and then the crows all flapped upwards, into the sky. When the crow's big flat body, they exposed the garbage bag. Oh! What had I seen here? Oh no! I've seen this scene on YouTube! I've seen the anime scene on YouTube! No! The scream had escaped through my throat and I understood what I was looking at. What was this? Satsuko came over as well, realizing something had happened. When she looked over my shoulder, she screamed as well. This wasn't... The garbage bag was crimson, dyed in fresh blood. Enough of this stupid roundabout way of saying this. That's right, yes. It was Rika-chan. Our friend, Satsuko's best friend. Always easygoing, clever as a cat, always so cute. You couldn't hate her. Our friend, Rika-chan, Rika-chan, She was stark naked. She was face up, limbs sprawled. Her eyes were like glass, just staring up in the sky. And...
Rika!
Satsuko broke down crying on the spot, and yet she still couldn't approach her friend's remains. The crows had all gotten through the garbage bag and they dragged out an apple peel, spread it all over. No. Crows, they couldn't do this. On the spot, I started vomiting. The sour taste became a bitter one as I threw up over and over again. Rika-chan, her stomach was cut wide open, vertically, completely open.
Rika!
The crows couldn't have done this. And from her open stomach, her organs, her bowels dragged out like children's toys left all over the floor. That unbelievable sight induced oxygen depression. Oh my god, I can't even right now. Color left my vision, a pounding headache, dizzy. Oh my god. It was like the nightmarish remains of the ceremonial killing. Somewhere had killed Rika-chan, brought her here, laid her here with her limbs sprawled out, and then cut open her stomach and dragged out her intestines. Red and pink okay, sorry, I can't spell, but then again, I'm also reading this, and oh Jesus, they're sticking out of her gut, and her intestines were scattered in every direction, like it had been for fun. The entire ground was covered in an ocean of red and black. A few of the crows had hopped around inside that ocean. They walked through the sea of blood, leaving bloody footprints. And those footprints, there were several still left on Rika-chan's body. Those sinister prints made it seem enough like a bizarre ritual killing. I may have wished for Takano-san, Coach, even Oishi to die, but I don't remember ever wishing for Rika-chan's death.
そうさ、俺じゃない。
I stumbled backwards and then stepped on a newspaper. A newspaper in a place like this. The newspaper that was covering my hatchet. I had kept it wrapped up in my belt in order to carry Satsuko, and that newspaper had fallen off. Sheesh, don't scare me like that. I bent down to pick it up, and Satsuko looked at me with such disbelief I'd ever seen and froze. She was looking straight at me, and at the hatchet on my belt.
落ち着け、サトコ、これは違うぞ。
Yeah, the hatchet isn't even covered in blood, right? At least it shouldn't be. And even then, wouldn't the newspaper be covered in... Satsuko trembling madly backward.
俺じゃないんだ。俺じゃ。
She didn't care at all that she was exposing herself through the towel. She just trembled and tried to step back from the demon in front of her.
サトコ、落ち着いてくれ。
Okay, look, you don't tell someone to calm down, especially when they're not only assuming that you're a murderer, but they also just witnessed that their best friend is dead. And in such a gruesome way, too.
頼むから、冷静になってくれ。サト。
Screaming weakly, Satsuko began to run unsteadily. Run away. That is...
待ってくれ、サトコ。違うんだ。
The way she ran away was so weak and slow, so if I wanted to go after her, I could have caught up. But if I tried to grab Satsuko's shoulder or something right now, she might actually go crazy. So I had to follow her to try to clear this up.
高野さんを殺して、監督を殺して、大石さんも殺したんでございましょう。おじさまを殺そうとして、リカまで人殺し！
違う。俺じゃない。俺は殺してなんかいない。
何を言ってるんですの。あなたさっき自分で言ったじゃありませんの。死ねって、死んでしまえって。それでみんな死んでしまったんでしょ。
俺は死ねって思っただけで別に。
Keiichi, you could have responded with, "Oh, but I never wanted Rika-chan dead. Why would I want Rika-chan dead?"
自分で何をしたか記憶に残っていないんでございましょう。そんな人の話なんか信用できるわけありませんわ。人を殺した時の記憶が欠落してるだけなんじゃありませんの。いや、記憶がないふりをしてるだけなんじゃありませんの。第一、そのナタは何なんですのよ。
It's not even covered in blood.
説明してごらんなさいよ。
It's not even covered in blood.
これは。
ほらほらほら、ケイチさんは殺人鬼じゃありませんの。どうしてですの。ちょっと意地悪だったけど楽しくて優しい、一度は本当のニーニーかもしれないとまで思ったのに、どうしてそんな風になってしまったんですの。
I might have been able to slowly answer each one of Satsuko's questions at a time, but in this situation, explaining my innocence in such a short period of time was impossible. I mean, I didn't even know if I was really innocent anyway. I had, at the very least, killed Satsuko's uncle. There was no body, but I know I killed him, without a doubt. At that point, I was far from innocent. And I wish Takano-san, Coach, and Oishi-san were dead, and that curse of mine was granted. When I wished for Takano-san to die, I didn't think anything more of it than a normal thing that you just say to someone you didn't like. But then she actually did die, and I realized that if I wanted people to die, that they would. And hoping that it would happen again, I cursed Coach and Oishi at the same fate. So, even ignoring Takano-san's death, Coach and Oishi's were completely premeditated crimes. Was I a killer just like Satsuko said? Was I unable to distinguish between reality and illusion, and turned into a demon without remembering it, becoming a killer who carried out Oyashiro-sama's curse? No, that couldn't be. It was impossible. Ah, damn it! The very word impossible was impossible in Hinamizawa right now. How many freaking times have I said that word these past 3 days? Satsuko started crying again, and she was walking unsteadily. At first it felt like she was still running, but now it was like she was walking away, crying from someone bullying her.
どうしてこんなことになってしまったんですの。どうして。
If there was an answer to that, I wanted to know it too. Why? Why had it turned out like this?
ニーニーがいなくなってずっと寂しかったけど、ケイチさんが転校してきてくれて、またみんな明るくなって、楽しくなって、毎日が光ってたのに。
Yeah, she was right. Those days were bright and beautiful. And yet. After that, Satsuko and I shouted the exact same thing.
どうしてこんなことに。
The cicadas were sneering at the spectacle of our strange game of tag. Shut up. Eventually, I heard the murmuring of a stream. The forest parted, and a suspension bridge appeared. Satsuko was crossing dangerously, wobbling as though she might fall at any moment. And when I stepped onto the bridge, it swayed a lot, causing Satsuko to stagger and fall on the spot.
大丈夫か、サトコ。
近寄らないで。この人殺し。
Satsuko shouted. Her hatred made it very clear. It was sad. If words could cut, then this warmth flowing through her eyes would have been blood for sure.
どうしてこうなってしまったんですの。ケンチさんのこと大好きだったのに。
I wanted to go up to her and give her a hand, but the distance between us was uncrossable. If I got any closer, Satsuko would start shouting again, and say things that would hurt me me deeply again, so I couldn't approach any closer than this.
サトコ、俺にもなんでこうなったかわからないんだ。でもこれだけは言える。リカちゃんを殺したのは俺。それだけは絶対に。
いい加減なこと言わないでほしいですわ。自分の記憶にも自信が持てない人が何を言ったってどう信じればいいって言うんですの。
I tightened my hands into fists. This was mortifying. I wasn't crazy. Hinamizawa was crazy ever since I wandered into it, lost on that one night. This insane world where I was at the festival when I wasn't, and the uncle I killed was alive. Where death would have just come by wishing for it. It was all this world's fault. Mion and Reina started acting strangely, like they were possessed by something too, and Coach wouldn't believe anything I had to say. And even Satsuko, who I should have protected, was yelling at me like this. Was the price for killing a man supposed to be this high? Was I really going to be forced to stay in such a bitter world? I did the right thing. At least I wanted to. So then, why? I hated it. Every time I asked why the days Satsuko I enjoyed in peace went so wrong.
サトコ、信じてくれ。俺は人殺しじゃない。
ではそのナタは何なんですの。納得のいく説明はできまして。
このナタが怖いのか。じゃあ捨てるよ。それなら安心だろ。
Satsuko didn't nod, but she seemed to be in agreement with that proposition. I clumsily took the hatchet out of my belt and dropped it over the side of the bridge into the stream below.
捨てたぞ。これで話を聞いてくれるな。
武器を捨てたくらいで気を許すと思いまして。圭一さんほどの方なら私を素手で絞め殺すなんて簡単でしょうに。
Like hell I would ever want to kill Satsuko. You fucking idiot.
じゃあどうしたらいい。両手を頭の上で組んだらいいか。
そうですわね。両手を頭の上で組んで後ろを向いてくださいます。
It was a cunning plan, much like the ones she used during club activities. Putting my hands on my head and turning away would mean that I couldn't attack Satsuko very easily. I immediately went to her request, since it would make her feel better.
これでいいか。俺の話を聞いてくれ。
Satsuko stood up and carefully approached me from behind, and then she actually came up right behind me. She was so close, and yet I was so sad that I wasn't allowed to turn
圭
around.
一さんが悪くないのはなんとなくうすうす分かっていましたわ。多分あなたは何か悪いものに乗り移られただけなんですの。さっきまでは圭一さんが殺人鬼なんだと思ってたけど、あなたの目を見ていたら。
I could hear Satsuko was still crying, but her voice was gentle and the same.
圭一さんが人殺しなんかするわけがない。圭一さんの体を何か悪いものが乗っ取って悪事に駆り立てただけ。
Was she speaking literally right now? Or was she trying to admonish me? I couldn't tell.
思えばひょっとするとあの人たちも圭一さんと同じものに乗り移られていたのかもしれない。あの時は殺されるとしか思わなかったからそこまでは考えが及ばなかったけど、今ならわかる。あれは乗り移った何か悪いものの仕業だった。
サトコ、何の話だ。
It was less like she was talking to me, and more or less she was talking to herself, like she was confessing at my back.
分かってるんですの。身に覚えがないわけじゃないんですのよ。
Satsuko's voice started to become mixed with sobs. Her pained voice tore at my heart. I didn't know what Satsuko was talking about.
西宮殿の屋根によじ登ったことがありますの。何年も前のことですわ。
Once, when Satsuko was playing hide and seek at the shrine grounds, she climbed onto the roof of the storehouse for ritual implements, which everyone should not go near, and hid. Then Satsuko saw that she can get in through a window meant for ventilation. For Satsuko, the word curse was plenty scary, but she was more curious about what was inside the unknown storehouse. She removed the grating on the window, which was already hanging off, slid her small body into it, and climbed down inside. It was too dark for her to see, but after descending, she realized how high up she had been. Despite the darkness, she could see a few things around her thanks to the faint light coming from the air window. And to her disappointment, it was just a regular old storehouse. She tried to leave, but the door was locked up tight from the outside, and it was made to not open from within. She would have to go back throughout the ventilation window she had came in from, but the window was high on the wall, and there was no way that she would be able to climb back up. Satsuko desperately tried not to cry, and racked her brain thinking of a way to get up there. There was a lot of bird cage-like things hanging by chains from the ceiling. She took the hanging chains and strung them along the wall. If she climbed up the bundle of chains, she might be able to manage to climb up the ventilation window. There was nothing else she could do, so she had to try. And try she did. It was dark and creepy, and she didn't want to stay forever. The more she thought about that, the more she panicked. She climbed the bundle of chains. Satsuko could hear the clinks and clangs of everything creaking under her weight. And then, just as her hand reached the window, one of the metal fixtures that she used to stick the chains flew up the wall, and the chains all began to pull loudly and fiercely with it every way. Spurred on by the sounds behind her, she managed to get back onto the roof from the window. Because of the weight of the flailing bundle of chains, the other fixtures broke. And then, one of the big bird cages hanging from the ceiling fell into the floor with a huge noise. Under it was an image of Oyashiro-sama, his vessel, and the cage took off one of the arms and trapped some other implements underneath it. It didn't take very long for her to grow scared of what she had done. The deafening noise could be heard from the rest of the shrine grounds. A few other children heard it and gathered around, and of course Rika-chan was one of them. Then Rika-chan's father, the shrine priest, with an angry look ran over, and then, as for what happened next, it was painful to remember. The only one who knew where Rika's parents kept the key to Ritual Storehouse was Rika. So he scolded her, saying that this happened because Rika pulled a prank and hid me in there. He was very angry and menacing. Just looking at him was enough to frighten anyone. He exposed Rika's back and took a strangely shaped ritual cane or something and struck her with it several times. Rika's words at the time, "It wasn't me, it wasn't me. I'm sorry, I'm sorry." That pitiful voice, I still can't get out of my head. I should have said it was me. I should have said so, to save my best friend from the false accusation, without being afraid of Rika's father's terrible temper. Rika gritted her teeth and cried at the crime that she didn't even remember doing. Ever since then, the world had been strange.
わかってるんですの、私には。
Oh my god, what the fuck?
これは、お社様のたたりだって。あの時、最後伝を怪我して、親友を見捨てた私への天罰だって。
お社様のたたり。
父も母も濁流に消えた。意地悪だったおばも死んだけど、誰よりも私を可愛がってくれたニーニーも私を捨てて家出して、そして圭一さんが転校してきて、やっと楽しい毎日が戻ってきたと思ったのに、今度は圭一さんが取りつかれて、リカも殺されて。聞いたの私。お社様は本当にたたりをなすときは本人をすぐに殺さないんだって。親しい人から順に殺して、みんな殺してから最後に殺すんだって。だから圭一さんもたたりにやられて。 今度はレナさんやミオンさんがたたられてしまうんですわ。そして殺したり殺されたり。もう
落ち着けよサトコ。たたりなんかない。誰もお前をいじめたりなんかしないって。
When I turned around, I was thrusted away with amazing force. Given my hands were awkwardly placed on my head, I couldn't take the fall and lost balance. And I had been pushed not to the bridge, but to the side. Towards the stream. No, this can't be happening! As one last miracle, I was allowed to grab a cord hanging from the bridge. Far below me was the stream. We were pretty high up, and below were rocks of all sizes. If I fell, it clearly wouldn't be pretty. The entire bridge was tilting under my body weight. My frail little grip probably won't last another minute before my fingers had let go.
Satoko! Satoko!
I didn't understand myself, what I meant by shouting her name then. Was I asking her to save me? Or was I asking her why she did this? Finally, everything came back into focus. I saw Satsuko and was surprised what an odd expression she had. It was the first time I'd seen it. It was an expression of righteous anger, meant only for those who needed to die. What the fuck? As she screamed, she jerked the bridge to and fro. She didn't have to do that. I was gonna fall anyway.
私はお前なんかには負けないんですのよ。たたりなんかに負けてたまるもんですか。お前になんか絶対に負けない。みんなを奪ったお前に絶対に負けたりなんかしない。
サトコ、これだけは聞いてくれ。
I don't know what my face looked like at the time, but it seemed like it was enough to quell Satsuko's agitation.
俺のしたことは確かに褒められるものじゃない。いや、いけないことだったかもしれない。だけどお前に幸せになってほしくって、それだけは信じてくれ。
こいつ最後の最後でケイさんのふりを。
Oh boy! Satsuko didn't seem to have any more desire to listen to what I had to say. And for that to happen at the very end like this was tragic.
お前に褒められたくてやったわけじゃなかった。お前に幸せになってさえもらえればよかった。俺たちはダメなんだ。お前が笑っていないとダメなんだ。だから俺が消えたら、俺が死ぬことで新しい生活を迎えたなら、きっと笑ってくれ。それだけ約束してくれないか。
喋るな。ケイさんの口調で喋るな。落ちろ。落ちてしまえ。
Okay. And those were the last words Satsuko ever said to me. Those sad, tragic, and altogether unrewarding words. What on earth was I? My desire to make Satsuko happy ended up like this. Where did I first go wrong? And what was the mistake I made? When did I make it? Was I the crazy one, or was it Hinamizawa? Even after all of this, I thought I wasn't crazy at all. It was this eerie world that was crazy. This world I had accidentally wandered into that one night. Because that fun world where I never doubted all the crazy times we had as a club would go on to forever. It couldn't possibly have transformed into such an abnormal world. That fun world wouldn't have ever ended like this, with Satsuko pushing me to my death. In the end, I was going to be swallowed up by this crazy world and disappear, No, I'd probably already disappeared. Yeah, probably. On the night in the Wat Nagashi, I'm sure that the world I really belonged to, I had vanished that night, and everyone was worried. It was laughable that I even taken this long to figure out that I wasn't even around anymore. Orishiro-sama's curse on the 5th year was Satsuko's uncle dying and me disappearing. In the real world, Satsuko had already been freed. Maybe my friends were all lamenting my disappearance and finally trying to get back on their feet. And even though they were down to 4 people, the club would reopen and they would have a good time without me, waiting for the day that I would come back. I'm sorry, everyone. I couldn't come back home. But this is what I wished for. This was my wish for Satsuko's smile and my duty as her Nini. At this point, there will probably be no one left to torture you. Because Satoshi and I took 2 years, but we succeeded. That annoying toothly smile of yours. We wanted to see it one more time. My pain wasn't gentle or merciful. It was a sharp pain, violent, powerful, and ruthless. What little compassion I had receded in the span of a moment. And now I could die. I could say goodbye to this insane world. Farewell, crazed Hinamizawa. Thanks for giving me the psychic power to kill people whenever I wanted. If you still allow it, I'll wish for one last thing. The death of this very world, of this crazed Hinamizawa. So that nobody would ever again have to find themselves lost here again. Is Keiichi really gonna die again? Keiichi is really not gonna die again, is he? Okay. Oyashiro-sama. Nobody really knows what characters to use to write Oyashiro-sama. Knowing this is hard, partially because depending on the time period. He has been called with various titles, with subtle changes to his name, but nobody knows the real one. The only thing all periods agree on is the 4 syllables, O, Yashir, and Ro. They're always used. There's a theory stating the shrine, or Yashiro, dedicated to Oyashiro-sama himself, became an object of worship. And that people began calling it Oyashiro-sama, or Lord Honorable Shrine, but this doesn't make a bit of sense. I don't know whether this is related, but people say the Furude family, the most respected bloodline in terms of worshipping Oyashiro-sama, actually inherited his blood. And in the legend of Furude family passed down, if for 8 generations in a row, the firstborn child was a girl, the 8th daughter will be a reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama. If we go by this legend, the characters used for Oyashiro-sama's name should be O for honorable, Ya for 8, and Shiro for generation. These character assignments are simply something I've thought up. There's no way to truly verify it. If this is true, then Oyashiro-sama would have been named under the assumption that he would come again. The second coming of an object of worship can be seen in several religions, so this wasn't unusual. But a few of those religions call a second coming with their object of worship and the day of judgment, or something along those lines. And we must not forget that they mean it to be the end of the world. Rika Furude, pampered and loved dearly by the elderly folk of the village. The rumors say that she is the 8th generation and Oyashiro-sama. I do not know the family tree of the Furudes, but at the very least I can confirm that the past 2 generations, the first child has been a girl. Rika Furude watches over Hinamizawa. If the village were to lose her protection, what would happen then? Would peace between man and demon be lost? Would it once again create a hellish landscape where man-eating demons run rampant? I mean, wouldn't be the first time. Wouldn't be the last time, probably. Who knows? A gruesome feast of the demons who suddenly remembered how delicious the weak humans were? Who could only cry, scream, and run for their lives? What would that look like? Just imagining it is enough to make my heart pound with excitement. Okay, we've read all the tips. According to Steam, I read all the tips. My head was pounding. The sky was bright. It was cold too. It hurt. Each sensation I felt led to a new and different one awakening. When I came to, I was lying face first in the dry riverbed. A few body parts hurt a lot. The skin over a bunch of my joints were torn, turned blue and red or oozing blood. I could tell that my bones were in pain from the agony I felt whenever I moved. I looked up and saw how high the bridge was, which I had fallen. Considering I dropped from there, it was a miracle I could even open my eyes again. Right next to me was a broken upside-down car seat, which I guess some pranksters had brought here. Maybe this thing had conveniently lying here under me, allowing me to escape an instant death. Miraculous. Of course, I didn't know whether this miracle was fortunate or unfortunate. I had failed to die, and now I was still stuck in this insane world. How long have I been unconscious for? The sun was high in the sky, and it looked like 1 or 2 hours had passed. But my body's sluggishness didn't make it feel like at all so short a time had gone by. Mentally, I felt like I've been asleep here for a whole decade. The more feeling returned to my body, the more pain flooded in. It hurt so much that I would have better not to wake up. I needed to get to a doctor. Yeah, to Coach's clinic. The term Coach's clinic brought memories back to one another, memories I wish I hadn't recalled. Satsuko was no longer on the bridge. She would have returned to Hinamizawa by now. She would put on some clothes, go to the clinic, get a checkup, and report how crazy I had seemed. The police were waiting for me without a doubt. This time, they would find out for real that I had killed her uncle and arrested me. Or would they send me to a mental institution like I had thought that they might? Still, I didn't care which one it was at this point. Please someone stop all this pain. You can boil me or cook me after that. I don't care, whatever you want. I began to walk unsteadily, just limping along. I went downstream and through an animal trail-like path in the woods. Walked searching for a path that I knew. Eventually, I came across a familiar road that set off towards the clinic. Not to my house, but to the clinic, which had treated me like a lunatic. It was hot and humid. There was no wind, and the air was stagnant. For a while now, I had been smelling the terrible stench of burnt eggs, and it made my face scrunch up. And then, at last, I noticed something. I couldn't hear any cicadas. It was the first time I had heard Hinamizawa so utterly silent. When I thought back, it seemed like the birds always chirped in the morning. Cicadas always cried loudly in the afternoon, and the Higurashi rose up in a chorus for evening. Always something to hear. I couldn't hear a single insect. The only thing I could hear was the rustling wind brushing at the treetops. I'd never experienced this sort of quiet before. Even if the only sound coming from the trees lacked life somehow. The trees were yellow, and many of the leaves spread on the ground, despite it being too early for autumn. Even the weeds that had been growing so persistently on the side of the road had yellowed, brown, and lost their vigor. The hell? The only sunlight itself, only the sunlight itself was the June Hinamizawa I knew. And yet it seemed like the seasons had switched all of a sudden. Looking at the fallen leaves and rotting weeds led me in small spots. Small insects turned on their backs. They weren't moving. They were corpses. I looked closer to see the insect corpses scatter around, like a child had collected them as samples and then strewn them about. The stench, what was it? It was terrible, like burnt eggs. Combined with all the bug corpses and leaves falling in the trees this summer. Had someone sprayed herbicides, whatever the fuck that word is, and pesticides around here? Even at school, we apparently fumigate. What the fuck are these words all of a sudden? Keiichi, does falling off a bridge really make you say more confusing words? You weren't saying half the shit earlier. They call it pest disinfection or something, once or twice a year. I hadn't run into anybody despite how bright it was outside. It was mid-afternoon, and yet I felt like I was fucking hell. Well, with this smell, nobody would want to be walking around outside. What even was this, anyway? There was no sound, no noise, not even breath. Hinamizawa was silent. The school would come into view right after turning this corner, and yet I couldn't hear any commotion at all. None of the shouts or— oh god, wait, did our curse thing actually work and we killed everybody in this Hinamizawa? It was simply quiet. Just pretending to ignore the silence had grown intolerable. I saw the school. I finally heard something. It was the sound of a few trucks. There were a few very tall trucks parked in the schoolyard, idling. About 10 workers in raincoats were unloading things in their trunks. It was hot and humid even for the usual clothing. I couldn't imagine how unbearable it must have been. Then I remembered. Our school was rented from the school forest service field building, wasn't it? Huh. It wasn't strange at all for the forest trucks to be doing some kind of work in the schoolyard. Besides, what did the forest rangers do anyway? I felt bad for having them work such a heat and with such a stench about. They were taking colorful cargo out of the truck and lining it up in the schoolyard. They were containers, fairly large ones. Inside, multicolored patchwork bags. Heavy too. They were being carried in pairs. They lined them up neatly, like tuna on a riverside fish market. Several dozens of tuna were completely filling the fairly wide schoolyard up. I forgot my pain for a little while, captivated in this big forest ranger job I had never seen before. As I stood there watching and gazed, people in the range coats working on the other side noticed me. One of them pointed me out and shouted a few things back and forth. I thought they might yell at me for getting in their way, so I decided to leave post-haste. But then 2 trucks drove up behind me. I stepped aside, and they entered the schoolyard. Sheets covered their trucks, but I could tell that they were completely full. As they passed, there was an awful smell that made me want to choke. It wasn't some burnt egg smell before, it was a worse one, like rotten crab meat. What on earth was it? I've been enshrouded in one terrible stench after another all day. Then certain white letters embossed on the side of passing trucks caught my eye. Ground Self-Defense Forces. Huh? Self-Defense Forces? Like the army? What was the army doing in the schoolyard?
Oi, Kimi. どこから入ってきた?
Suddenly, someone slapped me on the shoulders from behind. I turned around, and the fucking word SDF Jeep was parked there. The SDF person in a green raincoat and coat and gas mask like in the movies was carrying a compressed air cylinder. He didn't look normal. There wasn't an inch of exposed skin anywhere.
どこから入ってきた?
When I tried to talk, I stretched my wound on my head. It made the SDF people exchange glances. I couldn't see their faces through their masks, but they seemed surprised.
君はひなみ様の住民か? 住所と名前は言えるか?
一応ここに住んでますけど、名前は前原圭一です。あ、住所は獅子骨市ひなみ沢村。
After seeing me tell their name and address without hesitation, one of the SDF people watching for the drips started talking to the
本
radio.
部応答願います。本部応答願います。402生存者発見。繰り返す。402生存者発見。
Found a survivor.
場所は営林署入り口前。
This is base, we copy. Secure the survivor at once. What's his
生
status?
存者は健在。全身に外傷を認められるも生命に支障なし。
How not fatally, though? We not only fell off of a high bridge, but we landed onto fucking, like, rocks and shit. If anything, it's a surprise we're still conscious.
自立歩行可能。
Barely.
これより保護し本部へ送致します。
I was prepared to go along with police, but the SDF? I couldn't help but think it seemed a little bit much. They urged me into the back of the Jeep, and then they told me to put on this gigantic gas mask. I did so, and one of the troops fiddled around with it, strapping it tightly to me. It was heavy, hard to see out of, hot and difficult to breathe. Just looking at the world through the lenses made it lose sense of reality. My breathing sounded like a giant monster through the mask. At this point, I had no idea what was happening. With such trepidation, I asked the trooper adjusting my mask.
すみません。何かあったんですか？
君はどこにいたんだ？何をしていたんだ？
Hey, don't answer the question with more questions. I was the one asking
ず
you.
っと山に入ったところにある吊り橋から河原で多分気絶してました。今日が何曜日かもよくわからないです。
今日は昭和58年の6月22日。水曜日だ。
That surprised me. Satsuko pushed me off the bridge on Tuesday, the 21st. That meant I'd been asleep at the riverbed for an entire day.
改めて聞きますけど、何があったんですか？なんで自衛隊が来てるんです？何かの訓練ですか？
Had my question been that difficult for him? None of the troopers would answer me. The text moved to the top. The one in the driver's seat, talking to his own radio, turned onto the vehicles. He turned the dial to some broadcast station. To another came in. I started to listen to the voice on the radio announcer I was familiar with.
より首相官邸で行われました。記者団からの自衛隊の災害出動が迅速に行われなかったことが前例のない未曾有の大災害に直結したのではないかとの質問に対し、奥の幹
でありまして、県知事からの派遣要請を受けて迅速に対応したものと思っております。
Why is the text at the top this time around?
とこのように述べ、要請を受けてからの自衛隊の出動は迅速であった。むしろ県側の事態把握に遅れがあった可能性を示唆しました。そもそも自衛隊の派遣を要請した県知事は災害発生から前例のない大災害であることをいつ認識できたのか、そして災害派遣要請までにいわゆるお役所的なロスタイムが生じ被害の拡大を招いたのではないか。今後の首相官邸より報道部の大型記者がお送りしました。さてここでもう一度災害発生からの行政の対応を振り返ります。
Did everybody in Hinamizawa just up and die? In the middle of the night, between June 21st and June 22nd, a large-scale disaster broke out in Hinamizawa village Shishabone. The details have not been investigated, but there was an eruption of volcanic gas from somewhere in the Hinamizawa area. The gas was relatively heavy, and it swelled out and began to flow. That flow went down along a small river and headed directly into Hinamizawa village, and after a few hours, it covered the entire region. It happened in the middle of the night. 2 to 4 a.m. Every home and household in the village was affected. With most of the residents asleep, it was thought that they all died without noticing the crisis. The catastrophe striking in the middle of the night cursed its detection to come too late. But there was still one small opportunity to have noticed it. 3 a.m. A newsletter shop in Okonomiya sent a vehicle carrying the morning newsletter to the branch office in Hinamazawa. Usually, the shop would be contacted upon the vehicle's arrival, but this morning that didn't happen. The newsletter shop made repeated calls but got no response. The shopkeeper sent his eldest son to check on things, but they lost contact with him as well.
非常に悔やまれています。この時点で警察か消防への連絡があったなら事態はもっと改善されていた可能性が高いでしょう。少なくとも村全滅という惨劇は免れた可能性があります。
6 a.m. Residents in the areas in the same region began continuously calling 119 to report the smell of rotten eggs, dizziness, nausea, and even headaches. The fire department received the same reports from all the same confined region. They speculated a truck loaded with chemicals may have gotten into an accident and reported it to the local police. 6:30 a.m. Contact was lost with the patrol car on duty in Hinamazawa area after the officer reported the smell of rotten eggs. The local police considered the possibility of a large-scale disaster involving a highly lethal gas and reported it to prefectural police at 7:15 a.m. At 8 a.m., the governor was traveling to a nearby prefecture for inspection, so in accordance with regulations, the prefectural environmental disaster prevention chief was God damn it, there's so many fucking words to set up the disaster and shit like that. Yay! However, without contacting the governor, the countermeasures came too late.
近年市民団体によって指摘されていますが、議員待遇者との視察旅行は完全に親睦を目的にしたもので主演三昧だと噂されています。近い筋の話では知事は徹夜で飲んだくれて泥酔状態で就寝していたそうです。環境部長から電話があった時も泥酔していて全く取り合ってもらえなかったのだそうです。
And so the authorities, in the hour or so it took for the governor to get a grasp situation and sober up, did nothing but accumulate information.
知事は言うに及びませんが、知事不在時には本部長を務めることになる環境部長にも怠慢の責任が問われるでしょう。また、県としても大災害を想定したマニュアルが用意されておらず、対応が常に後手に回ってしまったのが致命的でした。
Holy fucking 9:12 a.m. On the evidence of the prefectural police, the governor requested a disaster relief mission from the SDF. By the time the chemical defense unit equipped with protective equipment arrived to the scene, 8 hours had already passed since the incident's outbreak.
とにかく深夜の就寝中というのが不運でした。同じ災害でも日中に起こっていれば全く違ったでしょう。
All households in Hinamazawa region were wiped out. There were over 1,000 victims. The SDF are still confirming the situation on the ground, but their results were predicted to only increase that number.
スタジオにはゲストとして火山性の災害にお詳しい地学博士の藤原先生にお越しいただいております。先生、このような恐ろしい毒ガスが突然湧き出すようなことはあるのでしょう
か。火口部に限定して申し上げれば決して珍しいことではありません。火山大国日本にはたくさんの活火山がありますが、それらの火口部はいずれも危険なガスの噴出する危険性があり、一般登山者も火口部周辺には立ち入らないのが一般的です。
では今回南沢村を襲った卵のフラン臭のするガスというのも火口部では一般的なガスということですか？
卵のフラン臭という特徴から、おそらく火山ガスの中でも事故例の多い硫化水素によるものだと考えられます。高い濃度であれば非常に危険なものです。
南沢村は火山の火口部とは全く縁遠い場所にあるわけですが、そういった火口部でない場所にもその硫化水素が発生することがあるのでしょうか？
詳しいことが分かっていないのでまだはっきりとしたことは申し上げられませんが、外国の例で温泉の地下のマグマだまりからガスが噴出したという記録があります。極めて希少な例ですが、 必ずしも加工部でなくても発生の可能性はあるということです。
先生、ありがとうございました。今防衛庁から発表があった模様です。防衛庁の森川さん。
はい、防衛庁です。先ほど防衛庁は日南沢村ガス災害の主原因となった火山性ガスについて陸上自衛隊科学学校での分析の結果、二酸化炭素と硫化水素の混合ガスによるものだったと発表しました。
森川さん、そのガスは依然として噴出を続け、周囲に拡大しているのでしょうか？
現在日南沢村で救助活動に入っている自衛隊第9師団の報告として、ガスの濃度は徐々に薄まりつつある、これ以上の被害の拡大はないと発表しました。
Did everybody in Hinamizawa die? That's what I want to know.
ですが依然、日南沢村地区は危険な状態にあることには変わりなく、今後も注意深く監視を続ける必要があるようです。
防衛庁から報道部の森川記者がお伝えしました。続きまして、避難を余儀なくされている沖宮地区住民の模様をリポートします。現在避難所の一つとなっている下篠崎小学校に報道部の現地記者がお伝えいたします。
何ですかそれ。
Inside of the jeep was clamoring, bouncing along the road. No one answered my muttered question. Whatever. There was a catastrophe that destroyed Hinamizawa in a single night? Where was Hinamizawa village anyway? Someplace deep in the mountains, right? Name of places I've heard about on the radio were always like that. They were all places I'd never heard of, much less new locations of. Wiped out? Does that mean... Don't. They usually say how many they died, and how many were injured. How many people were still alive? Where did everyone evacuate to? Eventually we came to view of Coach's clinic. For the first time, I saw the flag of Japan hanging on the outside of the pole. Japan's circular sun hung down as though exhausted. Many SDF tents were set up at the clinic's big parking lot, and many strict security vehicles were parked there as well. They saw a jeep coming. Men in white clothing and gas masks came running out of the clinic, frantic, carrying a stretcher.
もう大丈夫だよ。具合は歩けるかい？
歩けます。あ、痛い。
It was because of my owls they forced me to lay on the stretcher anyway. People who'd seen the doctors were looking at me and notifying the others of my condition via radio.
外傷多数。骨折もしくは内臓損傷の可能性大。頭部に大きな裂傷。瞳孔正常。眼底に出血なくも脳内損傷の可能性は否定できず。
And then, from the clinic's entrance, people lying on stretchers were brought outside to replace me. Judging by their clothing, they were from Hinamizawa, and that's how I knew they were victims. They brought the stretchers in front of the truck. Two troops holding the shoulders and legs like some kind of baggage picked them up and threw them into the trunk. In the trunk of the truck, people's bodies piled in heaps. They were just like baggage, and that they told me that they were already nothing but shells. That moment I remembered all those colorful shacks filling the trunks, and them lined up in the schoolyard like a fish market. Hundreds of empty shells, corpses, 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 corpses.
バカ！犠牲者を粗末に扱うな。彼は村の住民だぞ。
The troops carrying the sacks answered with a humble salute. The world didn't need this insane version of Hinamizawa. My final wish. Again, it was granted. I didn't understand anything anymore. None of it mattered. I wished, I cursed, and then it happened the next day. Then please, tomorrow morning, just let me die. That insane night, it's still going on. Please, just end it already.
Oi, 意識が損失したぞ。患者の名前を呼びかけろ。早く。
前原君、聞こえるかい？聞こえるなら瞬きでいいからしてくれ。前原君、前原君、前原君。
Suddenly, the world didn't matter to me anymore. I wasn't interested in their
呼
cries.
吸が停止したぞ。気道確保。人工呼吸。絶対に生かせ。畜生、畜生。もうこれ以上死者はごめんだぞ。死んでもいい命なんかないんだ。殺すな、殺すな。
I could hear the voice of men crying and screaming in my ears. Nobody deserves to die. Those words came from his heart. They were so commonplace that they soaked into my heart too. Maybe it was a mistake to take someone's life, even if it was to save Satsuko. If this is the price I had to pay, this horrible tragedy, then this is a little much. Oyashiro-sama. Why did you never punish me? Come to think of it, Satsuko said something. Oyashiro-sama's actual curse never goes for the target first, but kills everyone they love before that. Oyashiro-sama's curse. It was a convenience excuse I told myself at the very end, and that it wasn't my curse that destroyed it, but Oyashiro-sama's. Given that I was in the stretcher, this next bit might have been more obvious. But last of all, I realized one thing. Yeah. Today, I had not heard those footsteps following me. Even once. And now, I was liberated. As the cries of the Higurashi I couldn't have been hearing filled my mind, their tearful ensemble was the only funeral march I had. June 22nd, 1983, early morning. A widespread disaster occurred in Hinamizawa Village, Shishabone Prefecture. Volcanic gas, carbon dioxide, and hydrogen sulfide erupted from Onafuku. The bike? The fucking bike? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? One of the Hinamizawa area's water sources spread through the entire village. There were 1,200 victims. 20 have gone missing. The catastrophe was unexpected, forcing local governments to evacuate approximately 600,000 people. According to later investigations, magma pools and hot springs were uncovered directly under Onafuguchi's swamp. The gas gushed from it was determined to be the cause of the disaster. In addition, directly after the incident broke out, many forth-claiming this was the disaster of a curse based on Hinamizawa Village legends, first sparking a wave of chaos. There were apparently local legends of a curse spreading a miasma, destroying the village. And some scholars believe a similar gas disaster may have happened in the past and remained part of those legends. More extreme protocols suggested that this extension of string freak death incidents had been happening in recent years of Hinamizawa, stirring interest in theories about the curse of Oyashiro-sama. In addition, relatives of those in Hinamizawa Village who had escaped the disaster complained of the sickness afterwards and were hospitalized. Some of them even died of an unknown cause, further encouraging such extreme opinions. On top of that, several relatives professing to be possessed by Oyashiro-sama's curse committed suicide in strange ways. The impact of the disaster has had an entire nation can no longer be ignored. Wild visions of terrible toxic gas seeking around the middle of the night, killing people, spilled across the country, causing a steady stream of people complaining of insomnia, difficulty breathing, headaches, dizziness, etc. Some who identified themselves being obsessed by it began doing odd things. Most of these things were mistakenly attributed by the tabloid press, but afterwards, some even began to call the mental illness society for the Hinamazawa tragedy the Hinamazawa syndrome. The Hinamazawa village region, the object of all of its rumors and speculation, is currently closed off, and even flying overhead is prohibited. The prohibition was, at some point, undone as a result to decrease in the gas's density of the autumn, but that other autumn gas burst was confirmed, leading to the area being cordoned off again. How am I supposed to feel about all of this? Is there any way I should feel about all of this? Because I don't know. Word is that the area was sound asleep, all traces of its former life intact and left to rot. Only one survivor remains, Keiichi Maibara, who lived at Hinamazawa village. At the time of rescue, he had some trouble breathing due to a fluid buildup in his lungs, but the result of life-saving procedures, he was kept alive. He is currently in a general hospital somewhere in the prefecture. The press have been asking him for some time, but all interviews are being refused. What did he see in Hinamazawa? What happened between June 21st and June 22nd in Hinamazawa village? Today he reigns silent, unwilling to speak of it. So he survived. Keiichi survived. Let me guess the next. Wait. The Great Hinamazawa disaster. Fuck you! Jiro Tomosuke. Real name unknown. What? Oishi went missing in an investigation. Possibly suicide. Reconfigured today. Possibly murdered. Reina died! Mion died! Oh my god! Satoko went missing during the Great Hinamazawa. Teppei went missing. Ichiro Maibara died. Tomita Okamura. Oh no! Chie died. Ah, fuck you, Komayoshi. Ah. Shion Sonozaki committed suicide at the victim's hospital. Oh my god. Attempted suicide at the attempted. In days of peace. What the fuck? You don't do this to me! They just really dropped the bomb and just went, by the way, everyone's pretty much fucking dead or missing. Oh my. They had to be specific on who they were, too. No fucking way. That can't be it. There's gotta be something extra. I refuse to believe that that's it. I refuse to believe that is it. Okay, here we go. Okay, wait, 2003? An elderly couple living in Osaka Prefecture discovered a cassette tape while organizing the possessions of their son, who had passed away 8 years ago. Their son went missing when his fishing boat capsized in 1995. He was 47 at the time of his death. 8 years later, in 2003, they had begun to organize their son's remains in order to organize their minds, and came across a cassette tape in question. From 1975 to 1989. The deceased had experience working as a journalist for photography and the tape was thought to have been created during that time. The label on the tape read 11/28/1983 Keiichi Maibara. Wait, this was a day before... If I saw from the thing, this is a day before Keiichi's attempted suicide. It was thought that the tape was recorded during an interview with Keiichi Maibara, the only survivor of the Great Hinamizawa disaster that occurred in June of 1983. As the only person who lived through the disaster of the night of June 21st, shrouded in mystery, many interested parties attempted to question him, but he never once spoke physically to anyone in a public place. Therefore, the tape caused quite a stir, possibly being of extremely high value. Click.
なんだか録音されてると思うとすごく喋りにくいですね。
気にしない気にしない。ほら、こうすれば録音してるのも気にならないでしょ。
After this, the sound quality dramatically decreases. Did he cover the recording device or something?
じゃあ始めるね。まず最初の質問から。ケイイチ君はあの大災害の夜どこにいたのかな？
Probably passed the fuck out, honestly, dog. I'm gonna be honest with you.
神社から裏に抜けてずっと林道を進んで吊り橋があるんですよ。山に入る少し前にそこから落ちて気を失ってました。
それは大災害の夜、つまり21日から22日にかけての深夜のこと？
いいえ、21日の火曜日の朝です。それで次の日の昼間に目を覚ましたわけですから、1日半はそこで気を失ってたと思います。
どうしてそんなところに？誰もが持つ疑問だけど、当日は平日で、しかも落ちた橋は君の家と学校からは大きく離れているよね。ザックバランに行って君が大災害の発生を事前に知っていて、村から逃げる途中に吊り橋から落ちたんじゃないかっていう声もあるんだけど。
冗談じゃないです。勝手なことを言わないでください。
私も随分ひどい言い分だと思うよ。気を悪くしないでね。さて、次に圭一君が落ちたという吊り橋なんだけど、地図で言うとここだよね。神社の裏から林道を抜けて至る吊り橋というのは。
多分、俺もあんまり行かないところなので自信はないです
が。そんなに行かないところにどうして平日の朝に行ったのか疑問。
Oh, oops. Fucking hell, I hate it when I do that.
それで、この君が気絶していたという河原なんだけど、実はそれはありえないという噂は知っているかい？
ありえない。またありえないですか。まだ。
For a little while, Keiichi Maibara mutters the word impossible several times.
どうしてありえないと？
火山ガスが発生したのは鬼ヶ淵という沼なのは知ってるよね。それで学者の先生が緻密な模型を使ってシミュレーションをしたら興味深いことが分かったんだってさ。例の火山ガスってのは空気よりも重いらしくて、地形に沿って低いところへ流れ込む水みたいな性質があるんだってさ。それで発生源の鬼ヶ淵沼からそういうガスが噴出し、どれくらいの時間をかけて村を覆うのか実験がされたんだ。そしたらさ、君が気絶していたという河原、流れ込むんだよ、ガスが。
よく言ってる意味がわからないんですが。
つまり、君が本当にこの河原で気絶していたなら、君は丸一晩猛毒の火山ガスの中にいたことになるんだよ。だからつまり、君がここで気絶をしていた可能性は否定されたわけさ。もっとざっくばらんに言うよ。私はね、君が嘘をついているんじゃないかなって思うんだ。
君は大災害の時、安全なところに身を潜めていて、ガスが薄れた頃合いを見計らって村に現れて自衛隊の人に保護された。どうかな？図星かな？
For a short time, the journalist pressured Keiichi Maibara further, in a teasing way, but all that he could be heard are heavy sighs.
仮にそうだったとしても、俺は
驚かないとはどういう意味だい？
Was this recorded
あ
for you
ん
to
た
take a
もさ
butt?
っき言いましたよね。ありえないって。あのひなみ沢ではありえないことなんていくらでも起こるんです。死んだはずの人が生きてる。そんなこと珍しいことじゃないんですよ。まさか俺自身が死んだはずなのに生きているってやつを立証しようとはね。
The journalist and Keiichi both laughed for a while.
じゃあケイイチ君、話を変えるよ。あの大災害がひなみ沢連続開始事件の5年目のたたりではないかという話についてはどう思う？
いや、それはないですね。5年目のたたりは俺ですから。
え？何のこと？
何のことって、あんたの話に対する答えですよ。あの大災害は、まあ、言っても信じないでしょうけど、俺が起こしたんです。俺がね、こんな村、丸ごと死んじまえって願ったから起こったんです。
そりゃ、豪快な話だね。
豪快？そういう面白い言い方もあるんですね。高野さんも俺が殺したし、監督も大石も俺が殺した。あの時の俺にはね、何か神がかり的な力が宿ってたんですよ。そう。例えるなら、足音かな。
足音？ってなんだいそれ。
あんた、足音を聞いたこともないんですか？ペタペタ、ひたひた。あんたも今日からは歩いてるとき、不意に立ち止まってみると面白いですよ。それでね、自分がちゃんと立ち止まったにもかかわらず、足音が一つ余計に聞こえたなら、気をつけた方がいいですよ。
そうだね。気をつけるようにするよ。
そんなに俺、面白いこと話してますか？あんた、さっきからヘラヘラと笑ってばかりですね。監督と同じだ。俺のことを同情したり、話を聞いたりしてるふりをしながら、その実、人のことを異常者扱いしてる目だ。
そんなことはないよ。
いや、俺にはわかるんです。あんたの目は監督と同じだ。あの日以来、もう足音は聞こえない。だから俺にはもう、あんな恐ろしい力は残ってないだろうけど、今ここでもう一度、あんたの死を願ってみるよ。俺に不愉快な話ばかりをする、あんたの死を。そうだな。 今回は一つ死に方も決めてみようかな。高野さんは焼け死にだったから。じゃああんたは逆に水だ。水に溺れて死ぬってのはどうだい？絶好調だった当時の俺なら次の朝までには必ず死んでる。
Well, that's fucking amazing! Oh, you son of a bitch!
さてあんたは何日後に水で死ぬかな？あんたも気をつけろよ。俺ごときにたたり殺されるな。
The recording ends in the middle of Keiichi Maebara's laughter. And Keiichi Maebara? Late night, 2 days after the interview, he suddenly died from a high fever, cause unknown. Records remain of the strange words he kept giving after pressing the call button the day before he died.
足音がまた一つ余計に。
That's not something to be happy about. Let's not be happy about that. Let's not be happy about that. Why were the kids laughing? Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. And mainly fuck you. Oh, fuck you dearly and fuck you full-heartedly. Holy fucking hell. I am fucking baffled, honestly. Now what though? I haven't gotten to 3 hours. I didn't think it was going to end like this. Well, okay, I mean I expected an unexpected ending, if you will. But I was not what I wasn't expecting. What I wasn't expecting was just being that close to it. So like I don't know. I don't know. Perhaps I could play another game for a bit. I don't know what to do. I didn't think I'd get this far. Fuck. What would be just a random game to play for fun? Like, even if it's not for a long while, like, I'll take it. Honest to God, I'll take it. Let's see. Yeah, I suppose I could just play some Monster Hunter Rise, maybe? I could go ahead and do that. I'll have to launch chapter 3 again later so I could do the after party. I could do that on stream, but honestly it's like, I don't really feel like it's worth doing on stream. At least the way I see it. Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm a dumbass, I don't know. Alright, let me just plug in the funny controller. Ow. It is not connected. The think it's not connected. There we go. Like, it like vibrated like it just connected, and then it was just like, no. It was like, nah, none of that shit. It's been a while since I streamed Monster Hunter, so I might as well do it. Change the stream text to Monster Hunter Rise. There we go. Perfect. Pog. Amazing. Pog. Great. Cool. Pog. 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 And now let's go ahead and launch Rise. Once I set all that up, I'll make a tweet saying that, like, oh, hey, we finished Higurashi early, but we're going to play some, like, Monster Hunter for a bit. I need to get ready for when Sunbreak comes out. I pre-ordered it and shit, so I'm already ready for Sunbreak. Well, I'm not ready for Sunbreak because my skills are still fucking rusty. There was a fucking goddamn issue where, like, I played the demo of Sunbreak, right? Because I was told, I think it was after I raided Santa one time. I think it was after I was playing it was after I was playing Digimon, and he said if you like played the demo, you got like some items or whatever. And I was just like, oh, fuck yeah, I'll do the demo. And I, of course, went with the gun lance, because what the fuck else would I go with? And I don't know what it fucking was, but, like... I don't know what it fucking was, but they changed one of the wire bug abilities for gun lance. Now, to be fair, this is probably something I could maybe potentially change later down the line and whatnot. But I still found it rather weird. I wish I could have, like, I should have just changed it on the fly. I couldn't just do that. Fucking hell. I should probably add, like, a game capture thing on, like, the other monitor so I could, like, swap to it easily. But yeah, they like, changed, like, so, like, when you, like, if you were to, like, let's say I had, like, my gun lance out, right? And you, like, hold left trigger, and I think it was the Y ability it was. Like, you press Y, and ordinarily it would have you, like, throw a wire bug forward and then have, like, a slice attack. But then they changed it to, like, what seemed like a mini blast dash sort of thing, which on paper sounds nice, and it is nice, but...
What's up?
I don't know, I wanted something a little more cool, to tell you the truth.
What is it?
AKA, my old ability I wanted.
What do you need?
Like, I was like, why would you do this?
Are you foraging or upgrading?
I don't know.
Goodbye.
But I did recently get some Hunter Rank 8 when I was preparing for Sunbreak. Because, you know, what else do I do on a regular day?
I've been waiting for you.
That's creepy how you say I like
you
that.
like?
Which quest would I like? Let's complete. I already completed all this shit. Fuck my life. If I already completed 90% of this shit, then how the fuck am I meant to... What? Am I missing something or am I stupid?
We have to stop this calamity.
No, we don't. We can just let them roam. Who cares? I guess we'll just do like some funny I don't know what that funny thing is. I really don't know what that bitch has. So I'll just do like this main set. And I got all three. Pog. It's my Sonic. I'm gonna bet that I'm gonna be like in a hunt, just dying halfway through. and then that's when players decide to spawn in. That's usually how the join request thing works. They don't join until I'm fucking dying. Which, like, not the first time this bullshit happens to me, but, like, I'm so used to it. It doesn't even matter anymore. So usually while I wait for players to spawn in, I just go around grabbing the funny bugs. That's kind of it, really. Can I fish in this game? Pretty sure I can, but I don't even know how to do it. I've never learned how to fish, by the way. Do I just spam? I got a fishy. What a good pastime. While we wait for players to join. My arm is going through the goddamn shield. Okay, fishing is easy. Duly noted. Man, I remember when people tried to convince me that World was a good game. This game exists, sorry. This game exists, and I don't know. The fuck was that? I was running directly up, and my character's just like, nah, none of that shit. B. B has joined the quest, eh? Is that how we're doing this? Alright, cool. Well, in that case, since we actually now have someone, instead of me being alone, I'm gonna head straight to the area of interest. AKA, where the bastard is. You're not the bastard. That's an Anjanath, ain't it? See, I'm remembering their names. I get Monster Hunter. I can fucking goddamn Monster Hunters. I'm pretty good at it. Where'd it go? It's going to 9. What am I doing? Fucking hell. I was just behind that. What the hell is it? Hey buddy, I'm not attacking this without you. Alright. Oh, he's going in. He's... Holy fuck. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, I like this wire bug move more because that actually feels like it does shit. Ah, shit. Did I really just do that? I used a flash bomb? Fuck his tail. Ah, of course I missed that shit. What the fuck? Good shit. What the fuck? Oh, let's go. Fuck you, asshole. Woo! Oh, fuck. Yeah! Oh! Oh! Okay. Inject his face! Oh shit! Did I counter it? I couldn't tell. I think I countered it because I heard like a funny thing. Oh, I don't have fucking. Ah! Whoa! How I didn't get hit by that is a miracle! I see that. You're a dick. You're a fucking dick. Just a waste of honey at that goddamn point. No! No! Why? Why'd you make me write it? Oh, okay. Okay. Gotta just write it into this. Okay. Ah. Fuck. I don't know. Best I can do. Oh, I need to reload. That would probably be helpful, wouldn't it? Cut its tail off. Let's go. How am I okay? How am I okay? That's good. Oh, I tried to dodge it. That wasn't gonna. Yep. Yeah, let's just get the tail and just ignore it. I did nothing to your tail, bitch. Don't worry about it. Fuck. He's running away. Pussy. Fucking hate this asshole. I'm sorry, but are you writing... Right, Capcom. Almost forgot. I forgot both of the blue boys got funny collabs. That's pretty good all in all. Gotta get him with it? Oh, you're kidding me, right? Ah! Why are you a dick? You fucking paused your attack animation? What a douche. What a fucking dick. Thanks, I needed that. Ugh. You're a fucking asshole. Get him! Get him! Bitch! Oh, damn, that hurt. Fucking freak of nature. Wait, that's an engine to have. Why am I aiming at the engine? Ow. Get his wing. There we go. I did it. I helped. That's not good. I should not have gotten away with that. Get him! Fuck! Oh, I got his tail. That's okay. Oh, that was a good counter. Perish. Oh, let's go. Oh, you fucker. Damn it. Woo! Oh, what? He got his head stuck in the fucking... Let's go. Oh yeah, we did good. Oh, I can't skin this thing. Rip. Woo! And we never heard from the hunter ever again. She died a horrible accident. God, I forgot how fun this game can be. I want some funny add-on content. How dare you? I pre-ordered your fucking DLC.
Good to see you, Hunter. My hammer's ready.
Wait. What did I do?
No problem.
Woo! More defense the merrier, but I'm also going to be dying a horrible, miserable death in the future, so I don't know how much that truly says.
Welcome to the hub. These are the available quests.
Yeah, kill 2 Satan. Okay. Why are these just all like double shit? Oh my god, you're an ass. Endurance. Quest target only. Gotta capture the
Having
ass.
trouble choosing? You know, I sometimes have trouble deciding what to make for dinner too. So what I usually do is I go out of my way to make the most difficult dish I can.
You okay? Alright, so I just thought about it. Dragon type and fire type. What are my stats for dragon resistance and fire resist? Ah. Yeah, you know, we'll be okay. We'll be A-okay. I think that other bitch is dragon resistance. I don't fucking remember. Regardless. Oh, please have all of them work. Let's go! Let's go. How much did that boost that up by, too? Oh, let's go. Perfect. Alright, let's go. How much honey do I have? 5 honey? Well, damn, that was fast. So, who would be the best to hunt down first? I've never done like an objective thing where I had to hunt more than one monster. So I genuinely have no idea if it's better to hunt one first over the other or what I should do. Nearby Rathalos, evidently. I don't know what that person's still doing at spawn. Mayhap they're waiting for another player, but at that point, go running around and get some buffs, dude. There we go. Apparently using hammer. Interesting. Interesting. I'll wait to see who they go after first, and I'll just follow. I don't personally know if I have a preference. Maybe I would prefer to go after Rathalos first, but at the same time, I'm like, do I want to go after Rathalos first? Or is that just my mind telling me, like, hey, it's either that or Dragon Satan. Take your poison. And I mean, really, how could you blame me? I think they might be going after Rathalos first. At least that's what it looks like. Meanwhile, I'm sliding around getting buffs and shit. I'm heading towards Rathalos. Okay, I should probably get headed there myself. Yeah, I think they pissed off Rathalos. Oh yeah, they pissed off Rathalos. I need to hurry. Wait, did Rathalos fly the fuck away? Why? Oh wait, are they trying? Did they do something to try to get them to fight each other or something? Is that what this is? Because if so, that's actually really fucking brilliant. Oh, that's actually fucking brilliant. Ow, damn. Oh, fire hurt. Oh. Blasted all to hell. Why are we fighting both of them at once again? I forgot what our reasoning is. Did I? I don't think I got Rathalos with that. Oh wait, no I did. What the fuck? Who are we going after? Well, I guess since you're still here. That's awkward. Ah, you did. Fuck you. Oh! There was... I couldn't tell if I could even block that. I probably couldn't. That's awkward. That's not good. Ow. Oh my god, where the fuck? Okay. Come on, use the thing, use the thing. Oh, fuck, why in this direction? There we go. I don't know. I think I just got lucky and did not get hit there. Ow! Got hit by the hammer. That's not. Ow! God, that hurt like ass. Am I dead? Nope, but I probably could have been. Oh, God. Remember, boys and girls, you're not a pussy if you use a shield. You're just a little more cautious than most people. And there's nothing wrong with that. Oh, did I really get that? Seriously? What the fuck? Oh, I don't have any wire bugs. Ow. I don't even know if I was hit by fucking... Damn. Oh, I didn't reload? Why? He's finally running away. Okay. So, gotta continue chasing him down, eh? Oh, fucking this way. God damn it. Where the fuck are we going? They're all going in different directions and I'm fucking lost. I fucking... my attention span not good. Oh. That's a Rafflos. Why am I going slow all of a sudden? Why am I so slow? Wait! I just wasted a potion. And one that pretty much replicates a mega potion at that. Also been wasting some flash bombs while I've been at it. I need to make flash bombs again. Flash bugs. Damn it. Where do I find flash bugs again? I'm about to run out of flash bombs. I can just jump down from here, right? Oh, thank God. Ah, there they are. Oh, shit. Fuck you, bitch! Oh my god, what even hit me? Yeah, 'cause that's going somewhere. Now you dickhead. You're a cocksucker. Why do you fly like you do? Bitch! I don't know. Oh wait, I got him. Yeah, still got him. Oh, he's pissed. Oh, he's fucking angry. Ow. You can clearly tell, too. I'm scared. Yes, blind the deranged monster in front of me. Oh, it's Dunzo. Cool. Fucking great. Fuck you, asshole. Alright. Now all that's left is to get Rathalos, and honestly, this is a step in the right direction. We'll be fine. Okay, so we're doing fine. Okay, now we need to go hunt the funny Rathalos. That fucking bitch. Oh, Lantern Bug. I'm gonna take you, buddy. Now, what did these guys do to you, asshole? Wait, Rathalos is coming this way. Holy shit! Holy shit! He went zooming. Hey, you slow the fuck down? Dick! I fucking hate this thing. Hey, was Rathalos always on fire like this? Oh, I have no recollection. Whoa! Good thing I have fire. Who's this? Nice. Cool! How did I miss it? Not once, but twice. Oh, did I inject it in his fucking head or something? Ah, shit. Oh well. Something else. Oh, let's go. Fuck you. Ow. Kezu has appeared. I don't think any of us wanted that. You are really the Monster Hunter Ris. Oh my fucking god. That's not good. I think I missed it. Oh my god, I can't even tell what is and isn't attacking me at this point. Ooh, that was a good counter. Oh. I tried to go for a counter again, but I don't think that's fine. Can I get him with this? Yes, I can. Oh god, oh god, oh god. How did I not take damage from that? Damn. Ow, you fucking bitch. Go. No. Stop hitting me! My players have hit me more than Rafflos has. The monster knows this knows what. Oh. That was actually perfect. That was actually like really fucking good. Well, I'll be damned. There's a piece I need to pick up here. Okay. Raphalos Ruby. Ooh, good thing I didn't pass up on that. Yeah, it's a real good thing I didn't pass up on that shit. Oh, and Raphalos is about to perish to the depths of hell. Fuck you! Uh-oh. I injected it into his wing. He won't be eating it anyway. Perish, weakling. Did he just run away again? Well, this time we know where he's going. Yeah, even the rookie's just like, okay, come on. Do not capture him. We must end his suffering. Let's go! Let's go! Good work, everyone. Let's go! Alright. You know what? That actually wasn't as bad as I expected it to be. We actually did rather well. That normally does not happen with people like me. Whoa. How did I not notice the lantern? But stop being a bitch. It's mine. Fuck you. Someone wants to talk to me? Why? I don't want to talk to them. Human interaction? Ugh, no way.
What's up? Huh? Take care. Mm-hmm.
So he's got nothing useful to say.
Hey. See ya.
Hey. Go kick some butt.
No, I'm gonna kick some ass. Huge difference. Huge fucking difference. Oh, fucking hell. Alright. With that, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. We did a good amount for Monster Hunter Rise, especially considering that we just finished Higurashi, so that's an added bonus onto the thing. So, it is what it is. Alright. Let's go ahead and see who we can raid / host before we hop off. Jesus Christ, Santa is kind. Metal Gear Rising, holy fuck. Imagine that. Let's see. Lux is live. Fire Emblem. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and raid Lux. Which Fire Emblem is it? 3 Houses. Okay. Did I? Oh, did I spell Lux Alice? I never trust my spelling. I never trust my fucking goddamn spelling. I fucking hate my spelling so fucking much. But anyways, that's all for the stream. Tomorrow I'll try to stream some Minecraft hardcore after my therapy session. We'll see if we can get that done. Whatnot. It'll be like one of those late night kind of streams or whatever. But anyways, had a good time in Higurashi, had a good time in Monster Hunter, and hopefully we'll get some more stuff done in the future. So yeah, y'all have a good day.